At that moment, true Emperor Jiushini of the Taishan Sacred Ground appeared and said, "Zhao Chongji, the Chaos Sacred Ground is a sinking ship. I advise you to keep your distance." Zhao Chongji responded with disdain, "Even if your Taishan Sacred Ground is strong, you have no right to tell the ancient Saint Ground what to do." Jiushini smirked arrogantly, "Don't believe it? Then just wait and see." Suddenly, a mysterious foot stomped down with tremendous force. The owner of that foot was none other than true Emperor Jun Shintong. Beneath his feet were two strange swirling lights, and above him was a mysterious rectangular shape that seemed to radiate light. Before him, a bizarre shadow with glowing eyes, terrifying just to look at, emitted a voice. "Are you Jun family truly trying to start a war with our Chaos Sacred Ground?" Jun Shintong quickly replied, "Battle Ancestor, our Jun family has unwittingly incurred a grudge against your Chaos Sacred Ground. But Zhang Dalai killed a great saint of our Jun family, and this matter must be resolved." He continued with a boastful tone, "That's the Jun family's divine artifact, the heaven-questioning mirror. It's said to be able to calculate the past and future." Xia Yun, who was inside the giant bell, spoke, "But I feel it's not that powerful." "You're just bragging." Jun Shintong retorted with annoyance, "Whether it's bragging or not, you'll know soon enough." But Xiaoyan ignored him and said, "Send Zhao Wuji back to the sacred ground." The other hurriedly replied, "Yes." They quickly vanished from there. Xiaoyan closed his eyes and fell into deep thought, hoping to fully merge with the imprint before any casualties occurred. The mysterious shadow continued to argue with Jun Shintong. "It was clearly your Jun family who bullied the weak first." Jun Shintong angrily retorted. Do you have any evidence for that?" At the same time, Zhang Daolei had to fend off two enemies alone. They attacked together, roaring loudly as they displayed their might, 8 extremes united. Invincible under heaven, beyond the heavens, a celestial being. He cursed them, "You damned scoundrels. You're pushing things too far." The shadow unleashed a secret technique called oppression. Jun Shintong smirked, disdainfully provoking, "Just reviving a will? I see you don't have much lifespan left. If you have the guts, summon your battle soul, fully revive, and fight me." The mysterious shadow quickly replied, "My lifespan truly isn't long, and I can probably only fight once, but with the assistance of the Chaos Bell, I can still kill you, Jun Shintong. This last bit of my lifespan was meant for Gushini of the Taishan Sacred Ground. Do you want to take his place?" Hearing this, Jun Shintong stammered, "This." Gushini immediately appeared behind Jun Shintong and said, "Brother, he's just trying to intimidate you." Jun Shintong looked suspiciously and thought, "We came here because Gushini instigated it. But this guy is always scheming. I don't know if he's telling the truth." The shadow directed 2 streams of light towards Gushini, asking, "Gushini, if you think I'm just putting on a show, why don't you come here in your true form?" The peculiar thing is that the light beams passed through him, leaving no trace. He even stood there firmly, as if he had the ability to penetrate everything in the world. Jun Shintong frowned with worry, pondering, "Old man Gushini is definitely suspicious. But things have escalated to this point, I can't easily leave." He spread his arms and shouted, "Battle Ancestor, no matter what, we must have an explanation for Zhang Dalai's actions." Suddenly, Jun Shintong stood frozen, his expression vacant, his eyes were fixed on something. It turned out that a giant golden bell appeared before him, booming, "Want an explanation? Fine, I'll give you one." The giant golden bell appeared with an unusual shape, and someone seemed to be flying towards it from above. Everyone present frowned, shouting in alarm. "Who is that? How could the Chaos Sacred Ground have such a terrifying presence? Is that a great emperor?" A figure appeared, but his face was obscured. Still, you could sense the immense aura emanating from him. He calmly stated, "I am the Chaos Great Emperor." Jun Shintong's eyes widened in disbelief. His jaw dropping in shock. He stammered, "This is impossible. How can a great emperor exist in this world?" The mysterious figure stood before him, threatening, "Jun Shintong, you dared to cause trouble in our Chaos Sacred Ground. You'll pay the price." Hearing this, Zhao Chongji hurriedly fled, as if sensing something terrifying. "This aura is truly a great emperor. Let's go." Dao Shin Monyan instantly struck him on the back with a powerful palm as he was about to escape. But Zhao Chongji, using his remaining strength, sped away as quickly as he could, and finally managed to escape. Seeing the dire situation, others hurriedly fled after Zhao Chongji. They flew away anxiously, shouting to their companions to escape. "Retreat! Go!" Dao Shin Monyan quickly dashed forward, spreading his arms to block them, threatening. "You want to run now? It's too late." Zhang Daolei rushed over, striking out at them with a powerful palm and roaring, "Jun crazy man, if you dare come, then stay." Jun Shintong saw the situation and worriedly frowned. No good. Crazy Man and Yi Xian are in danger. They are crucial. Especially Yi Xian, he's the hope of the Jun family. I had to get them out. He clasped his hands together, a magic circle with bizarre patterns appearing around him. He spoke, hold on, I'll buy you some time. Suddenly, at that moment, the Free Dao Great Emperor appeared above them, raising his clenched fist. I'm here. Go. Seeing the Great Emperor, they quickly fled. Jun Crazy Man looked back. Our ancestor is gone. What should we do? Jun Shintong quickly replied. Don't worry about it. Go. Xiao Yun stood nearby, smirking with satisfaction. Too bad, it takes some time to fully merge with the imprint, and they're escaping. Then let's attack the ones who haven't run away. The Free Dao Great Emperor spread his giant palms forward. Xiao Yun roared with fierce determination, if you're not involved, don't come watch the show. You'll regret it. The Free Dao Great Emperor launched attack after attack, relentlessly pummeling those nearby, leaving them with no chance to dodge. However, only one person remained unscathed, the only one there with the ability to penetrate anything, none other than Jiao Shini. Those around him, affected by the Free Dao Great Emperor's attacks, took turns viciously berating Jiao Shini. Jiao Shini, you bastard, you're dead. You damned Chaos Great Emperor. Attack indiscriminately. Jiao Shini, I'll curse your ancestral tablets. Jiao Shini, I'll curse your 18 generations of ancestors. Strangely, at that moment, countless colorful arrows, as if from nowhere, flew towards them. Daoshin Monyan exclaimed, it's a divine artifact. Zhang Daolei, standing beside him, nodded with a tense expression. It seems that ancestors' attack is truly frightening. Otherwise, they wouldn't use a divine artifact. Wu Chang raised his weapon, bidding farewell. I'm going first. He immediately left. Those around him followed suit. I'm going too, let's go. Xiao Yun witnessed it all and smiled with satisfaction. Hee, that's pretty amazing. One attack that injured 4 true emperors and destroyed a true emperor's avatar. Great emperors are truly terrifying. It's a pity, I can only use it once. As for the Free Dao Great Emperor, he encountered another Great Emperor whose face was obscured just like his. He exclaimed with excitement, to encounter another Great Emperor is truly rare. The other Great Emperor quickly responded, come, let's see who is stronger. As soon as they finished speaking, they charged at each other, launching attacks filled with power. But neither seemed to gain the upper hand. Xiao Yun exclaimed with worry. Jun Shintong can summon a Great Emperor's phantom? Does he have a single-use imprint like mine? The old man beside him replied, no, at the true Emperor level, one can summon a Great Emperor's avatar, but the cost is enormous. So this time, Jun Shintong will either die or lose another life. The Free Dao Great Emperor unleashed the Chaos Fist. The other Great Emperor countered with the Celestial Beyond technique. They kept attacking each other, one striking, the other blocking. Engaging in a back-and-forth battle. They seemed evenly matched, neither winning nor losing. Suddenly, Xiao Yun's expression changed quickly. He excitedly said, good opportunity. The Great Emperor used the Chaos Fist, and it's fused with the Chaos Law. We must seize this chance to comprehend it. Using Chaos Fist Enlightenment once. Using Chaos Fist Enlightenment once. A moment later, the Free Dao Great Emperor decisively launched a powerful punch straight at his opponent's face. The other Great Emperor vanished before the Free Dao Great Emperor's eyes. But Xiao Yun broke into a sweat, his mind racing. The gap between Great Emperors is so enormous. The Free Dao Great Emperor is in trouble. He began to transmit his thoughts. Ancestor has killed the Free Dao Great Emperor. Then, we'll eliminate the Jun family. Next, we'll go to the Taisu Sacred Ground and wipe them all out. Suddenly, the Free Dao Great Emperor slowly faded away. Xiao Yun was utterly terrified. He exclaimed with a grimace, oh, man, he's gone. He should have at least killed a true. Leaving. The old man beside him urged, what are you standing there for? Go find those bastards and get revenge. Xiao Yun nonchalantly replied, get revenge? My current strength. As he spoke, his body began to act strangely. He said in confusion, huh? What's this? The Great Emperor's power isn't disappearing. Could it be that I've become an emperor? The old man quickly explained, become an emperor? Nonsense. Although the Dao imprint has vanished, the Great Emperor's power can still persist for a day. Don't waste it. He instantly regained his composure and said with a determined expression. Wasting is not in my dictionary. They dared to bully the Chaos Sacred Ground. I'll make those bastards pay. Xiao Yun soared into the air with a giant bell on his person. Zhang Daolei looked towards Xiao Yun with a curious expression. Ancestor, where are you going? Let's go see. The immortal ancestor agreed. All right. Hopefully, ancestor can vent our anger for us. At the Jun family's stronghold, Xiao Yun had arrived. He thought, now, the Chaos Sacred Ground's true emperors are all but a breath away from death. Lei Zhu and the immortal ancestor are also nearing their end. Suddenly, a giant fist launched towards the Jun family. He continued to think, so this time, I must take this opportunity to suppress those hostile forces. Seeing that the Jun family was about to be hit, the Jun Free Dao quickly used his strength to block it. A shield appeared, protecting the Jun family. Xiao Yun used his giant hand technique, trying to strike the Jun family, but it was blocked by Jun Free Dao's shield. Seeing a shield appear, Xiao Yun wondered, what kind of sorcery is this? His master, standing beside him, explained, this is an emperor array, an array set up by a great emperor. A method to protect a great emperor's descendants. After hearing his master's explanation, Xiao Yun raised his hand, bell, come. Suddenly, a giant bell appeared in the sky. Seeing it, Xiao Yun continued, let's see, is my chaos bell's power stronger, or is your emperor array more powerful? As soon as he finished speaking, the giant bell repeatedly slammed into the shield that Jun Free Dao had created. Suddenly, a young man, a member of the Jun family, spat blood and his eyes turned white. Unable to withstand the pressure, he knelt down. Another young man, also a member of the Jun family, looked at Xiao Yun and pleaded, Great Emperor, spare us. We Jun family promise never to offend the Chaos Sacred Ground again. Seeing that Xiao Yun didn't respond, he continued to shout and kneel, begging, Great Emperor, spare us. Xiao Yun's face darkened with anger, spare you? Ignoring the previous speaker, Xiao Yun focused more power into his attack, striking even harder. If our Chaos Sacred Ground is breached now, will you spare us? Xiao Yun's strength overwhelmed the Jun family member, sending him flying back with a mouthful of blood. Xiao Yun then said, this Emperor Array is really sturdy. His master standing beside him replied, from the moment the Emperor Array was established, it has continuously absorbed the energy of heaven and earth, constantly growing stronger. Naturally, it's powerful. Xiao Yun continued, then, the Chaos Sacred Ground's Emperor Array, having stood for 1,000,000 years, shouldn't be stronger? Hearing that, his master looked at Xiao Yun and said, not necessarily. The Chaos Sacred Ground's reputation is so dazzling that countless great emperors born in later generations have visited our Chaos Sacred Ground. They sought emperor-level scriptures or divine artifacts. Although these great emperors haven't destroyed the Chaos Sacred Ground, their visits have weakened the Emperor Array's power. So, the Chaos Sacred Ground's Emperor Array isn't much stronger than the Jun family's. After hearing his master's explanation, Xiao Yun retorted, what you said reminds me of the great emperor of the demon tribe who came to borrow the Chaos Scripture. But I don't understand why those great emperors didn't directly destroy the Chaos Sacred Ground. His master explained, first, great emperors have different mental states. Second, all great emperors must enter the immortal path. Destroying the Chaos Sacred Ground would alert the Chaos Great Emperor. Clashing with the Chaos Great Emperor is not a good thing. Realizing this, Xiao Yun said, so that's how it is. Xiao Yun raised his hand, preparing to control the giant bell above. As another attack was about to descend, sensing impending danger, the Jun family member knelt down and pleaded, Great Emperor, wait. We Jun family are willing to pay the price. Surely, Great Emperor, you can't stay in this world for long. Instead of eliminating us, you should go and destroy the Taisu Sacred Ground. They are the true enemies of the Chaos Sacred Ground. Seeing the Jun family member's plea, his master standing beside him said, Xiao Yun, he's right. The Jun family's Emperor Array is not weak. If you can break it and eliminate the Jun family, you might not be able to attack the Taisu Sacred Ground afterwards. Hearing this, Xiao Yun said seriously, you're right. The Taisu Sacred Ground is the most troublesome. Xiao Yun stood above, looking down at the Jun family members kneeling below. Alright, if you can meet my demands, I can spare your Jun family. Xiao Yun appeared in the air, surrounded by dazzling halos of light. Below, a long-haired man knelt, respectfully asking, Please speak, Great Emperor. Hearing this, Xiao Yun replied, First, give me a Wendao time-based swordsmanship scripture. The kneeling figure was the Jun family's grand tutor. He said in confusion, Huh? Does the Chaos Great Emperor need this kind of scripture? Xiao Yun asked with annoyance, Is there a problem? The Jun family grand tutor bowed slightly. Then respectfully presented a scroll emitting purple light. Great Emperor, our Jun family doesn't have a one-dao time-based swordsmanship scripture. But this divine skill, heavenly beyond technique, contains a hint of time-dao mysteries. Take it. The scroll quickly arrived in Xiao Yun's hands. He held it and smiled. It's a pity this isn't a scripture. But at least it's related to time-dao mysteries. I can at least refer to it. His entire body glowed brighter with golden halos, emphasizing his majestic presence. He smiled and said, those who offend my chaos heavenly might, even from afar, I will kill. So, Jun Crazy Man and Jun Xian, they must die. Hearing this, the Jun family Grand Tutor rose to his feet, wanting to plead for their lives. Great Emperor, please forgive them. Our Jun family is willing to. Before he could finish, Xiao Yun vanished, leaving only a giant bronze belly emitting golden light in the air. His voice echoed, those who make mistakes must pay the price. I'm not interested in bargaining with you. The Jun family Grand Tutor was so furious that he spat out a mouthful of blood. Beside him, one of the two people just mentioned exclaimed in alarm, Grand Tutor, oh my god. A man in a brown robe angrily turned towards the Jun family Grand Tutor, who was kneeling on the ground. You, the one called Grand Tutor, our Jun family's future rests on the shoulders of that young lad, Jun Xiaodao. You've ruined him. I was preparing to send him out for training. Now, this matter is solely yours to handle. The two men standing beside the Grand Tutor, Jun Crazy Man and Jun Xian, stood upright. The one in the brown robe said, let's go. They were ready for what was to come. The giant bell in the air quickly crashed down. Two beams of light shaped like fists appeared in the sky, their supernatural strength hurtling down at the speed of light. The two beams of light struck the two Jun family members directly, creating a devastating explosion that sent rocks and debris flying everywhere. Before he died, the man in the brown robe managed to say, Xiaodao, the future of the Jun family rests on you. After the attack, a thick fog appeared around the Jun family. Seeing his ancestor killed, Jun Xiaodao knelt down, sobbing uncontrollably like a child. Crazy Man ancestor, I won't disappoint you. I will definitely become a great emperor. A faint image of his ancestor appeared behind him, then vanished. He clenched his fists in anger and resolutely stood up. From above, Xiao Yun and his master witnessed everything. His master asked, Xiao Wangbody, aren't you going to deal with him? Otherwise, you'll have another opponent on the emperor path. Xiao Yun calmly and confidently replied, no need. I, Xiao Yun, am not afraid of any peers. His master sighed, exasperated by Xiao Yun's excessive confidence. He thought, this kid is so confident. As they continued on their way, his master suddenly realized the path was different from before. This doesn't seem like the road to the Taisu sacred ground. Xiao Yun frowned and replied, of course not. We're taking a detour to the Saint King sect. That damn Mu Chi is too infuriating. I can't let him off so easily. The sky was clear and serene. The Saint King sect was in ruins. Everything was desolate and deserted. The air was eerily quiet. Xiao Yun looked down from above and exclaimed, it's desolate. They got away fast. But it's understandable. After all, the Saint King sect doesn't have a divine artifact or an emperor array. So they couldn't withstand a great emperor's attack. A large explosion occurred. It turned out that before leaving, he had used his martial arts skills to strike the Saint King sect, shattering whatever remained. The space crumbled beneath the great emperor's power, rocks flying everywhere. A spectacular and powerful display. After that attack, he flew away with a happy and relaxed expression. I still have time, let's go to the Taisu sacred ground. After all, the Saint King sect doesn't have a divine artifact. Even if another true emperor appears, it won't be a threat to the chaos sacred ground. In the silent space, Mu Zhu looked towards the distance where the Saint King sect once stood. His face was grim as he flew closer and exclaimed, damn it! The Saint King sect's spirit vein is destroyed. It's as hard as climbing to heaven to find another one. Anger swelled within him and he couldn't contain it, shouting, that damned Ji Yushini, he dared to use me. Scoundrel! Hopefully, the chaos sacred ground can subdue that bastard. The sky was blue, the air pristine, white clouds drifting by. At the ancient saint ground, Xiao Yun paused in midair, surrounded by a golden aura. Suddenly, a man flew over, clasped his hands together, and bowed respectfully to Xiao Yun. Junior Zhao Changji pays respects to the Chaos Great Emperor. Great Emperor, our ancient saint ground has already allied with the Chaos Sacred Ground. Before he could finish, Xiao Yun interrupted, do you have a one-dao time-based swordsmanship scripture? Hearing this, Zhao Changji replied in confusion, Great Emperor. Our ancient Saint Ground doesn't have this swordsmanship scripture. However, you can visit the Heavenly Sword Sacred Ground. As far as I know, they have a Wundao time swordsmanship scripture called Future Sword. He said that, but in his heart, he thought, the Chaos Great Emperor, invincible for countless ages, what does he need a swordsmanship scripture for? Xiao Yun, having received the information he needed, said, all right, and then left the ancient Saint Ground. An hour later, he and his master were flying through the air. After obtaining the Future Sword, Xiao Yun smiled and said, the Future Sword is in hand. Now, I just need to get the Wundao space-based swordsmanship scripture. His master looked at Xiao Yun in confusion, asking Xiao Yun, why do you want to collect these Wundao swordsmanship scriptures? Are you really going to waste time on swordsmanship? He continued, looking towards Xiao Yun. Swordsmanship is difficult to achieve emperorhood, you'll miss out on studying the Chaos Great Tao. Hearing his master's concerns, Xiao Yun continued to fly forward, replying, don't worry, I have my plans. He looked into the distance and continued, finally, we're at the Taisu Sacred Ground. But in his heart, he thought, I have the system to cheat. What's there to worry about? Besides, I'm determined to obtain that sword-shaped divine artifact. However, I should keep these secrets to myself for now, let things unfold naturally with time. In the sky, a foot-shaped beam of light appeared above the Taisu Sacred Ground. Immediately, that power struck a path down through the protective barrier of the Taisu Sacred Ground, creating a powerful collision. Nearby, Lei Zhu and the immortal ancestor witnessed this scene with joy. Lei Zhu chuckled and said to the immortal ancestor, finally, the Taisu Sacred Ground's turn. Refreshing, the immortal ancestor, standing beside him, saw this and frowned, slowly saying, Jiao Shenyi is too cunning. He won't be easy to deal with. Below, the Taisu Sacred Ground subordinates were terrified, their voices filled with panic. One said, that's a great emperor. Another chimed in, why is a great emperor attacking us? A brown-haired man panicked. Damn it, our Taisu Sacred Ground is in for big trouble. A blue-haired man asked in confusion. Where are the ancestors? The scene was chaotic and noisy, like a busy waiting room. Seeing the situation, Jiao Shenyi quickly raised his hand. Immediately, a blazing golden tower appeared in his hand. He clenched his teeth in displeasure, you're not the Chaos Great Emperor. Hearing him, Xiao Yun thought, Jiao Shenyi is truly extraordinary, I can see that. Jiao Shenyi asked Xiao Yun, you have the Chaos Great Emperor's power, but not the Emperor realm. Who are you? Hearing him, an old blue-haired man standing near Lei Zhu looked towards Xiao Yun. Expressing his doubts, isn't it the Chaos Ancestor? Then, they both disbelieved Jiao Shenyi's statement and said in unison, impossible. If not, who could be so powerful? It's definitely the Ancestor. But after a moment of thought, Lei Zhu said, Jiao Shenyi isn't entirely wrong. Could it be that you are? Before Lei Zhu could finish, Xiao Yun unleashed the Chaos Fist, striking the Taisu Sacred Ground. Then he simply said, noise. Xiao Yun didn't care about Jiao Shenyi's doubts. He charged down, smiling confidently, why do you care if I'm a great emperor or not? All that matters is that I have the power of a great emperor. The Chaos Fist struck the Taisu Sacred Ground but was blocked by a protective barrier. The Taisu Sacred Ground was unscathed. Seeing no damage, Xiao Yun said to his bald master, that divine artifact is powerful. Much stronger than the Jun family's heaven-questioning mirror. His master, clasping his hands behind his back, explained, that's normal. The Taisu Heavenly Emperor was a supreme heavenly emperor. I once observed him from afar, truly unfathomable. Furthermore, the Jade White Pagoda is a divine artifact with defensive properties. Use the Chaos Bell. After hearing his master's words, Xiao Yun nodded, all right. He used the Chaos Bell, and a giant golden bronze bell appeared, enveloping the entire Taisu Sacred Ground. Down below, Jiao Shenyi could no longer contain himself and spat out a mouthful of blood. Anxiously exclaiming, this great emperor is truly terrifying. Even his power alone can injure me. As he spoke, a figure appeared beside Jiao Shenyi, also enveloped in a halo of light. Just like Xiao Yun. He said, Shenyi, don't panic, I'm here to help you. On the other side, Lei Zhu and the others saw the scene with astonishment. Lei Zhu said, the Taisu Sacred Ground has another true emperor. The old blue-haired man chimed in, no wonder they've been able to suppress other sacred grounds. Seeing how formidable the Taisu Sacred Ground was, Lei Zhu added, two great true emperors. The Taisu Sacred Ground is truly terrifying. The two elders raised their hands, activating a small tower. No matter who you are, you will not harm a single hair on our Taisu sacred ground today. Xiao Yun wasn't surprised by their new move. He merely raised his eyebrows and said, "Two true emperors." A chaos bell in his hand grew larger, its dazzling golden color filling a corner of the sky. Xiao Yun's body seemed to be enveloped by a halo, exuding the fierce presence of a powerful individual. Haha, today, one of you will die. Full power, activate. The golden bell struck the Taisu sacred grounds barrier, creating piercing sounds. Just half an hour later, the two elders spat blood, unable to withstand the pressure. The pink-haired man pointed a finger at Xiao Yun, angrily shouting, "Xingyi's guess is right. You only have brute force, not any understanding of the laws. You're not truly the Chaos Great Emperor. Who are you?" Xiao Yun crossed his arms and looked down, confidently asserting, "Of course, I am the Chaos Great Emperor." The pink-haired elder still wasn't convinced. "The Chaos Great Emperor, my foot. All great emperors have gone to the immortal path. It's impossible to transfer consciousness over such a vast distance. How can you be him?" The blue-headed man beside him chimed in, "The immortal path is in another dimension. You can transfer power, but not consciousness. You don't even know this, in the Chaos Sacred Ground, you're probably not even a great saint." Hearing this, Xiao Yun frowned. "These two bastards are trying to fool me. Do they think I'm a fool?" His thought was barely finished when the chaos bell slammed into the Taisu Sacred Grounds barrier once again. "You two talk too much." The blue-headed man grimaced as he braced the barrier, his voice still laced with provocation. "Using the Great Emperor's power, are you even afraid to reveal your name? The Chaos Sacred Ground truly isn't doing well." Hearing this, Xiao Yun chuckled softly, "All right, I'll tell you. Listen closely." An expression of triumph appeared on the faces of the two men. "Finally, you're going to speak?" He looked at the blue-headed man and said, "Zhou Shini, actually, I'm your grandfather, Zhou Wudi, who has been missing for many years." The man's face turned green with shock and fury. He couldn't speak, the words stuck in his throat. The pink-haired elder burst into laughter, causing his companions to become irritated. "Find it funny, do you?" Hearing his friend's comment, the pink-haired elder stopped laughing, really embarrassing. "I can't believe someone would dare to speak to you like that. I can't hold back anymore. Go, use that technique." Below, DTN and the others from the Chaos Sacred Ground exclaimed, "Ha, I didn't expect the great Emperor Ancestor to have this side to him. Ancestor is truly humorous. Right, amazing." DTN was laughing loudly but suddenly paused as if recalling something. This style, isn't that my precious disciple?" He continued to speculate. Before, the Chaos Bell protected Xiao Yun and Zhao Wuji. Zhao Wuji has returned, but Xiao Yun hasn't. Besides, only Xiao Yun has forged the Chaos Body. "It's probably him." Zhang Dalai, standing behind him, transmitted a voice to DTN. Asking, "Is it Xiao Yun?" DTN instantly replied, "Most likely, Lei Zhu. Can a half-chaos body restore the Chaos Great Emperor?" Zhang Dalai instantly extinguished the old master's hopes for Xiao Yun. "Don't even think about it. No one has ever done it in all these years. Ancestor probably left something in the Chaos Bell. Xiao Yun can probably use it once, and that's it." DTN sighed, "Is that so? I hope we can inflict severe damage on the Taisu Sacred Ground." The two elders, the pink-haired and the blue-hatted, immediately unleashed their power. One yelled, "The Great Emperor's power on your body probably won't last long. Once it dissipates, your death will be upon you." As soon as he finished speaking, a few wooden coffins descended upon the tiled floor. DTN and the others from the Chaos Sacred Ground were confused. Coffins? What are they trying to do? It feels so familiar. As soon as the coffins descended, the Chaos Sacred Ground members felt uneasy. Zhang Dalai immediately realized something, the aura, at least peak Great Saint level. A man with thinning hair chimed in, "But even if there are 5 peak Great Saints, it doesn't matter." Another one agreed, "As long as the Great Emperor's power can sustain. Even if another true emperor appears, it's not a problem." Xiao Yun smirked and glanced down. "Zhou Shini, have you fallen so low that you'd resort to using those little peak Great Saint brats to stop me?" The blue-hatted man leaned forward, his lips still stained with blood. "Boy, those aren't our Taisu Sacred Ground's powerful individuals." The first coffin opened, and a gray-haired old man, eyes closed, stood upright inside. As soon as they saw him, someone shouted, "It's Ancestor Li Feng." Zhang Dalai spoke with anger, "I can't believe they captured him, and he's been missing for so many years." Damn them. DTN had just recovered his composure. What are they going to do with Ancestor Li Feng? Zhou Shini frowned and said in a low voice, "Sacrifice." The tower in the air sucked the flesh and blood of ancestor Li Fang, red energy streams rising up and merging with the tower. Below, nothing remained in the coffin. At the same time, the blue-hatted elder smugly provoked Xiao Yun, "If you hadn't attacked the Emperor Array, I wouldn't have needed to sacrifice him. It's your fault he's dead. Do you want to sacrifice another one?" Zhang Dalai, below, said, "Ancestor, don't listen to him. Falling into the hands of the Taisu sacred ground, he definitely wouldn't have survived. We're all nearing the end of our lifespans, Ancestor. We must destroy the Taisu sacred ground. Otherwise, more will die." Xiao Yun waved his hand, foretelling their fate. "Taisu sacred ground, you will pay for this today." As he spoke, the chaos bell once again struck the Emperor Array with a resounding boom. High above, Xiao Yun crossed his arms and asked the bald elder beside him. The ancient text said that a great emperor's gaze could kill a true emperor. Even with divine artifacts and emperor arrays, they couldn't stop me. So why can they withstand this for so long? The elder answered frankly, "Because you're not a great emperor. To be blunt, you haven't even borrowed 1/10,000th of the great emperor's power." Hearing this, Xiao Yun mumbled in doubt, "Not even 1/10,000th? Great emperors are terrifying." The bald elder scoffed at Xiao Yun's limited understanding. "Great emperors transcend the universe, suppress countless laws, their battle power surpasses your imagination." Xiao Yun furrowed his brow, "It seems I still have much to work for." Half an hour later, a golden beam shot out, flinging several people from the Taisu sacred ground, including Jiao Shen-yi and a gray-haired elder. The elder, Jiao Shen-yi, looked towards Xiao Yun in shock. "A half-chaos body can inherit the chaos great emperor's power for so long? Even we true emperors, our mortal bodies are about to explode. What to do? If we keep sacrificing, we'll only have the Taisu sacred ground's Tao saints left." Jiao Shenyi's expression darkened, "Either sacrifice all the great saints, or we'll be finished. The Taisu sacred ground can't afford that. If we have to sacrifice someone, it'll be me. I will summon our ancestor. Perhaps we can buy some time." Jiao Shenyi spread his arms and said loudly, "Disciples of the Taisu sacred ground, remember today's lessons. You must focus on the affairs of the state, strive to become stronger, and not waste my sacrifice." The gray-haired elder witnessed this and said to the blue-hatted elder, "Brother, I apologize. I misunderstood you. I always thought you were a despicable, shameless, cunning villain. Now I see, you're truly a qualified leader." Jiao Shenyi feigned humility in response, "Brother, we've known each other for countless eons. What is there to apologize for? If it's a misunderstanding, then let's laugh it off. From now on, the Taisu sacred ground depends on you." He continued to act heartbroken. "Brother, I will try to uncover this man's true identity. No matter what, you must eliminate him. I suspect he can only revive the great emperor once, but we can't beat him." A scene of vying for sacrifice unfolded within the Taisu sacred ground. The gray-haired elder clasped his hands and looked at his younger brother, Jiao Shenyi. "No, this should be my burden. I'm just a brute. Only you can lead the Taisu sacred ground to the pinnacle of the Nine Heavens continent. So, let me." Jiao Shenyi interrupted, his voice filled with grief, "No, your bloodline is pure. You can summon the great emperor. Let you do it." The gray-haired elder persuaded his dear younger brother. "The sacred ground can be without me, but not without you. Stop saying this." As if waiting for this, Jiao Shenyi showed a cunning expression. "All right. Brother, rest assured. I will protect the Taisu sacred ground." The gray-haired elder started to feel something was amiss. "Wait. Based on Jiao Shenyi's personality, isn't he trying to trap me?" The blue-hatted elder behind him bowed, mystical lights swirling around him. "Brother, thank you." The bald elder with a long beard was caught off guard. He started sweating profusely and turned his head slightly. "You even dared to plot against your brother? No wonder people call you a scoundrel. But the Taisu sacred ground truly needs talents like you. Your potential and lifespan are greater than mine. Don't let me down." Then the bald elder with a long beard spread his arms, releasing immense power. Blue and red beams of light continuously emerged from him. He raised his head to the heavens and roared loudly. "I can fight a great emperor before my lifespan limit, what an honor." Come, Xiao Yun, standing below, wondered, could this guy also summon a great emperor? A bald elder beside him, who seemed quite powerful, as his body was radiating a golden light, looked at Xiao Yun and said, "Not necessarily. Right now, he's restoring the consciousness of the Taisu Heavenly Emperor, controlling his body to fight." The price is that he might sacrifice himself, but the power he'll unleash will be formidable. Hearing this, Xiao Yun became serious, his face darkening with suspicion. He said, it seems he wants to buy time, sacrifice himself to protect the entire Taisu sacred ground. The bald elder continued, the sacred ground is inherently strong, and the Taisu sacred ground is the top one. It's unrealistic for you to destroy them. If you can force this true emperor to death, it will be enough to ensure the chaos sacred ground's safety for a while. The long-bearded elder seemed to have heard them. He transformed into a giant, like a divine entity, with blue lightning beams and a lightning circle behind his head. A beam of light shot out from his eyes. He said, chaos, no, chaos. Xiao Yun was now just a plaything to him, but he remained silent below, looking up. But he didn't lose heart. He channeled his power into his fist, causing it to radiate a golden light with brown lightning beams surrounding it. He looked at the elder with determination, thinking, fighting a great emperor, I'm sure this will be a huge help to me. Those watching below were astonished. They looked up at the sky in disgust, this is the Taisu Heavenly Emperor's power. Another chimed in, the Taisu Sacred Ground is using their ultimate trump card. Someone nearby asked, I wonder who will be stronger. Xiao Yun and the Taisu Heavenly Emperor both unleashed their powerful fists, with completely contrasting colors, stimulating the viewer's senses to the extreme. It seemed they were both putting their heart and soul into this attack, neither yielding. The two fists collided. At the point of contact, it seemed to freeze in time. The two powers clashed, causing the surrounding space to tremble continuously. But in this battle, the Taisu Heavenly Emperor was the one who tasted defeat, he was pushed back. Xiao Yun was on the verge of victory and smiled, Taisu Heavenly Emperor, just like that. While the Taisu Heavenly Emperor was still trying to regain his footing after the attack, a giant bell appeared right above his head. The bell wasn't trying to crush him but was pointing its tip towards him, creating immense pressure. The Taisu Heavenly Emperor tried to use both hands to block this massive object. The bald elder beside him, though seeing victory in sight, didn't gloat. He maintained a vigilant attitude, warning Xiao Yun, be careful. His laws are far beyond yours. Xiao Yun, radiating immense power, focused on the battle with utmost seriousness. But he didn't forget to respond reassuringly, my strength and speed are also far beyond his. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Yun leapt towards the Taisu Heavenly Emperor. He seemed to be going for a surprise attack from behind. But his tactic proved ineffective. The Taisu Heavenly Emperor quickly raised a hand, creating a trigram circle to block Xiao Yun's dangerous attack. But Xiao Yun hadn't unleashed his full strength. He channeled his power, creating a hand bigger than the Taisu Heavenly Emperor. He said, with just this little ability, you can't hurt me. The Taisu Heavenly Emperor couldn't dodge the attack, he took the full brunt. The impact sent him tumbling backward. But he was proving the title of the Taisu Heavenly Emperor wasn't empty. He grew even larger, engulfing the surrounding space in darkness as if creating a black hole in the sky. With a face filled with anger, he said, Taisu will die. The bald elder beside Xiao Yun panicked. He said, no good. This is the Taisu Heavenly Emperor's great technique. It's a direct attack on the primordial spirit. Xiao Yun, seeing this kind of attack for the first time, opened his eyes wide. He gaped, is there such an attack? Xiao Yun began to suffer from the Taisu Heavenly Emperor's attack. He clutched his head in pain, his body trembling. He cried out, ah. The blue-hatted elder saw Xiao Yun like this and chuckled. He thought, so, he's not the Chaos Great Emperor after all. The Taisu Heavenly Emperor's face remained contorted, though he was gaining the upper hand. But inside, he felt completely different from his outward appearance. He thought, this is great. It seems the sacred ground's danger has been resolved. I won't have to die either. A red beam of light appeared above Xiao Yun's head. He was clutching his head in pain and angrily said, hey, Chaos Bell, aren't you supposed to be a walking encyclopedia? What now? My primordial spirit can't withstand a Heavenly Emperor's attack. Seeing Xiao Yun in pain, Chaos Bell wanted to retreat. He said, how about we leave? Return to the Chaos Sacred Ground. With me and the Emperor Array, we'll be safe. Xiao Yun remained determined, don't talk nonsense. Today, even if I die, I must kill this guy. Otherwise, the Chaos Sacred Ground will never recover. Xiao Yun furrowed his brow, his teeth clenched in anger. The Chaos Great Emperor's power won't last long. By then, we might not be able to withstand so many enemies. Relying only on the Chaos Bell and the Emperor Array. Chaos Bell, standing beside him, said, there are actually a few techniques that could help you, but it would take hundreds of years to cultivate. You don't have that time. Xiao Yun, in excruciating pain, couldn't think straight anymore. He clutched his head and said, "Stop talking nonsense. You don't know how incredible my talent is. Just tell me." Seeing him like this, Chaos Bell extended his hand, creating strange symbols that emitted an eerie aura. "Alright, this is the Stone Tablet Decree. It can stabilize your primordial spirit. It's the best help you can get right now." Chaos Bell thought bitterly to himself. This is a waste of time. You'd be better off running, then figure out a plan later. Xiaoyan still didn't feel better, he was still in great pain. Above his head were the symbols created by Chaos Bell. He thought, no wrong, this is a great technique, but why are my enlightenment points increasing to 1690? Wasn't it just over 100 before? The system appeared and continuously announced, using Stone Tablet Decree Enlightenment once. Using Stone Tablet Decree Enlightenment once. Using Stone Tablet Decree Enlightenment once. With enlightenment points increasing exponentially. Xiao Yun became confident in the blink of an eye. He thought, it seems my performance today shocked the entire Nine Heavens continent, that's why I've gained so much. No need to worry anymore. Chaos Bell, standing beside him, froze for 5 seconds, stunned beyond belief. How is that possible? How fast? You've already comprehended the Stone Tablet Decree. Even when the Chaos Great Emperor was about to become a saint, it took him 10 years. Xiao Yun frowned, irritably replying, "Didn't I tell you before? My talent is incredible." Chaos Bell looked bewildered, stammering, "Could it be that you can enter an enlightenment state at any time? That's why you're so powerful." "Right, I remember the Chaos Great Emperor once mentioned someone like you. It's a pity I forgot." Suddenly, Xiao Yun froze, his eyebrows raised, radiating unparalleled confidence, his eyes sharp. He thought there was danger, but instead, he had comprehended the Stone Tablet Decree in the blink of an eye. He clicked his tongue and muttered, "Alright, the Stone Tablet Decree is complete. This Stone Tablet Decree is truly powerful." His entire body was covered with a layer of translucent stone, acting like an impenetrable shield. Chaos Bell, standing to the side, witnessed the whole process, his jaw dropping repeatedly. "Oh my god, it's complete. Is he truly human?" As soon as Xiao Yun received his power boost, he cackled, "Haha." His entire body radiated overwhelming power. At the same time, he unleashed his Chaos Fist technique, aiming it at Elder Lei. Xiao Yun's fist, accompanied by a beam of intense light, flew straight towards Elder Lei. He hurriedly blocked it, surprised, how is that possible? He can block a primordial spirit attack. But how can you block a VIP level power? Xiao Yun unleashed his amplified power, sending Elder Lei flying backward with a spray of blood. Xiao Yun scoffed, why is he so weak? Chaos Bell explained, the Tai Su Wheel is a primordial spirit attack. It consumes a lot of consciousness. After using it once, his strength naturally weakens considerably. Xiao Yun, full of confidence, seized the opportunity, hurled his VIP-level power-boosted fist towards Elder Lei, who had just fallen, and shouted, "Excellent. Then die." The power radiating from Xiao Yun was incredibly intense. Ji Yushini, standing beside him, was astonished. The Heavenly Emperor's mortal body is starting to shatter. Who is this guy? His primordial spirit is so strong. Xiao Yun ferociously growled, "It's over." His Chaos Fist technique shook the heavens and earth, the power seemingly tearing apart the entire region. Suddenly, he gasped in shock, "Huh?" A beam of blue light appeared out of thin air. The phantom of the Tai Su Heavenly Emperor appeared. Xiao Yun, who had been attacking Elder Lei with fury, froze. Everyone below exclaimed in unison, "The Tai Su Heavenly Emperor." Their eyes widened in shock as they looked up. Tai Su Tiandi appeared before everyone's astonished gazes. A brilliant blue aura radiated from him, illuminating the entire sky. He declared, "The Hundan Holy Land has fallen into the hands of the Ma Dao, opposing the Tianjua. The Hundan Holy Land must not exist. All heroes of the world can destroy it. Those who destroy the Hundan Holy Land will be rewarded by Tianjua." With that, he vanished into thin air, leaving behind faint blue wisps of smoke and bewildered stares. The disciples finally regained their composure. One of them remarked, "So, the great emperors haven't disappeared or died. They've gone to Tianluo." Another replied, "So, Tianjua really exists." A third added, "Does that mean we can become immortals?" The fourth replied, "I wonder if the previous great emperors have ascended as well." Ko the Nut furrowed his brow and pondered. The Hundan Holy Land is capable of opposing the Tianjua. It's truly incredibly powerful. Who would dare to easily destroy such a place? Furthermore, there's a powerful figure like him there. Meanwhile, near Tu Van, the faint form of Hun Dan Chang appeared. He sighed, after all these years, I finally hear news of the Hun Dan Great Emperor. So, the Great Emperor has become so powerful. Tian Luo, I truly want to see it. What could possibly be happening there? Tu Van responded indifferently. Hun Dan Chang advised, don't be captivated by Tian Luo yet. Many onlookers have already arrived. Your Great Emperor power might not last much longer. Tu Van replied, that's right. Even with careful use, it won't last long. Although I destroyed a Chuande, I couldn't breach the Tai So Holy Land. That's truly unfortunate. Despite his lament, Tu Van charged forward, confronting Ko the Knot. Between them, a massive formation enveloped by a scarlet semicircular curtain, occasionally emitting sparks, shimmered. Tu Van spoke, one Chuande isn't enough. Ko the Knot, perhaps you should step out. You might be able to completely obliterate my Great Emperor power. Ko the Knot scowled and scoffed, you want to trick me into stepping out? Do you think I'm an idiot? I don't believe you can break through the formation. Tu Van replied, if so, then wait for me to break through the formation, and then I'll kill you, boom. As soon as he finished speaking, a deafening explosion reverberated. The golden bell slammed into the dome of the formation that Ko the Knot had created. Ko the Knot spat out a mouthful of blood in surprise. However, he refused to yield. He raised the tower in his hand and chanted incantations. Let's see how much longer you can hold on. Those words are for me to say to you. With that, Tu Van raised his fist. Waves of golden energy gathered. Tu Van shook the golden bell, causing the atmosphere to become bleak. Tu Van furrowed his brow and placed his hand on his head, staggering. Ah, Ko the Knot was stunned. He couldn't believe Tu Van could withstand his second attack. But unexpectedly, Tu Van was exhausted. He was about to give out? Knowing Ko the Knot's thoughts, Tu Van continued, it seems I'm about to give out. Come out and fight me. I'm not tricking you. Ko the Knot could only watch in astonishment. He still couldn't believe what was happening before his eyes. He didn't know how to respond. Then, Tu Van turned away, glancing back over his shoulder. This is so pointless. I wanted to feign a decline in my energy to lure you into a trap. But you fell for it. So pointless. Let's go. Lu Lao suddenly arrived, urging Ko the Knot. You can't let him get away like this. He can probably revive the Han Dan Great Emperor. It's true that most can only be revived once, but what if it's not like that? Ko the Knot replied. Lu Lao, I fear he's trying to lure us into a trap. Seeing Ko the Knot hesitate, Lu Lao said. This guy is too dangerous. I don't have much time left anyway. I'll go test him out. With that, he flew towards Tu Van. Lu Lao, don't. Ko the Knot raised his hand to stop Lu Lao, but it was too late. Seeing Lu Lao chasing after him, Tu Van cried out for help, oh, someone's actually coming out. Lu Zhu, Bu Dai Lao Zhu, save me. Lu Lao grinned in triumph. Raising his hand and creating a glowing lantern that emitted a brilliant orange light towards Tu Van. Haha, whether you're pretending or not, it's too late now. Tu Van chanted. And the golden bell appeared, growing 10,000 times larger than Lu Lao's ancient lantern. The lantern exploded with a bang. You're right, it really is too late. Tu Van replied. Lu Lao was utterly shocked. He couldn't believe how powerful Tu Van had become. He only managed to raise his hand to block, but it was too late. An explosion erupted beneath the giant golden bell. This time, it seemed he couldn't hold on. From afar, Ko the Knot could only exclaim, Lu Lao, he thought to himself, another peak-level great saint is gone. Suddenly, Tu Van plummeted down. He grimaced and said in despair, oh no, this time it's real. As he fell from the sky, Tu Van kept shouting for help, Lu Zhu, come save me. Zhan Zhu, help. Seeing this, Ko the Knot could only stand speechless and helpless. He was at a loss for words in the face of Tu Van's over-the-top performance. Zhan Zhu and Lu Zhu could only watch helplessly. That's way too fake. Only a fool would believe it. Tu Van quickly stood up, replying, no one's falling for it. This is pointless. The golden bell remained suspended in the air, radiating powerful energy. A voice suddenly spoke. I know there are many of you hiding around watching. You'd best understand the fate of those who covet the Han Dan Holy Land. The Tai So Holy Land is your mirror. Below, numerous people were looking up at Tu Van and the giant golden bell. Every one of them emitted a powerful aura. After the golden bell finished speaking, Tu Van also flew away. Those watching followed, murmuring, "So, he's leaving? Isn't he going to our Holy Land? Let's go check it out." The sky remained shrouded in darkness. At the Shangwang zone, a flash of golden light appeared. Tu Van had arrived. With a resounding thud, Tu Van landed, standing with an imposing posture. Those who had followed him arrived. They murmured with confusion. "What's he doing at the Wang zone? Wasn't it destroyed by him?" "That's right, the spirit veins were destroyed too. Could he be digging up the earth? What good would that do? Planting vegetables?" Tu Van closed his eyes and said, "I was wrong." The 3 words, "I was wrong," shocked everyone watching. What, did his conscience grow teeth? With that, Tu Van raised his hand, his palm enveloped by a mystical energy. A golden aura shimmered, and a massive boulder rose from the ground. He said, "I was wrong. I shouldn't have destroyed nature." Tu Van then grinned triumphantly. He continued to chant, swirling his hand to create a vortex of air. The massive boulder was slightly altered with his magic. "Well, if this place was destroyed, I'll turn it into a public restroom." With that, the words, "Zhu Shao de public restroom," were engraved on the boulder. Those watching were speechless and helpless. Tu Van crossed his arms and shouted. "You've been humiliated like this, Mo11. You still won't come out, you bastard." A moment later, Tu Van scowled, contemplating the situation. "TSK, they still won't come out. Those bastards at the Shangwang zone are true cowards." Surrounded by a golden aura, Tu Van hovered in the air, declaring loudly. "Everyone listen carefully to this emperor. This emperor hopes such a thing never happens again. This emperor also hopes that the Zhushao continent won't have another public restroom." Without hesitation, he swiftly flew away. At that moment, a blinding and mysterious light streaked towards the vast and powerful Handan Holy Land. It turned out to be Tu Van, flying back. As he looked down, he saw countless people standing, welcoming him. They chanted in unison, "Lao Tzu. Long live Lao Tzu." He stood bravely before them, all those present at the Handan Holy Land. He stared at them with cold indifference. A flicker of worry crossing his eyes as he fell into thought. "If they guess I've revived the Handan Great Emperor, it'll be troublesome. I need to figure out a way." Soon, his expression brightened and his eyes gleamed. He had a solution. "Got it." Tu Van stood in the air, raising his hand to release the gigantic golden bell. It slowly glowed and rose, revealing an identical figure of him standing opposite him. It was none other than his clone, Tailin Tu Van. The clone stood before him, hands clasped and bowing his head in respect. "Greetings, Lao Tzu. Thank you for your protection and guidance. Tu Van will surely revitalize the Handan Holy Land." Tu Van looked back and replied with a single word. He seemed rather cold. The crowd below looked up, widening their eyes in amazement. One person in the front exclaimed, "No wonder only Zhao Yukong returned. It turns out the great emperor wanted to personally guide Tu Van. Tu Van is our true heir. It's only natural for him to receive some guidance." Another person agreed. "That's right. He's the hope of our Holy Land." Tu Van looked at that person, seemingly pleased. "You're quite good and so handsome. Just by looking, you can tell he's extraordinary. The Handan Holy Land depends on you now. Go." Some people in the crowd mumbled in confusion, "What the heck? Being handsome means being extraordinary? Then I'm good too. Lao Tzu, look at me. I'm the most famous handsome guy in the Handan Holy Land." Tu Van didn't waste any time. He quickly flew away, leaving the clone behind. The clone looked just like Tu Van. His eyes were straight ahead, and his face held a hint of excitement. The scene shifted to Tu Van. He paused in the air, looking at the person in front of him. The man had bright red hair. Tu Van mused, "Oh, it's the first elder of Tianyi. So someone can actually summon Lao Tzu. It seems the Holy Land still has many hidden tricks." The red-haired man's sharp features were revealed. He stood there, staring straight ahead at Tu Van. Suddenly, a massive golden hand appeared behind him. If I'm not mistaken, this is Tu Van's usual move. Before the red-haired man could grasp what was happening, the hand struck him with a blinding light, slamming him from the sky to the ground. A loud boom reverberated. Tu Van leaned back, arms outstretched, as he descended to that location. His heart was light, and he mumbled, "Who is this? Why is he so ugly? Next time I'll tell the Holy Master not to let such ugly people into our Handan Holy Land. He uttered these profound words with deep meaning in front of the man. The red-haired man miserably struggled to rise from the chaos, smoke billowing around him. He was exhausted, and Tiu Van's words had pierced his heart. He thought furiously, but didn't dare speak. So, I'm ugly, huh? Why would you say that? What's more, why are you offended by my ugliness? At this moment, Tiu Van clenched his fist, his hair fluttering in the wind. He stared intensely at the mountain in front of him, surrounded by purple lightning bolts. He mused, this is Dong Yufeng, where Dong Yutong resides. It's convenient to bring you there. Within a short moment, Tiu Van unleashed a fatal blow towards Dong Yufeng, causing the mountain to violently tremble. The scene shifted to the inside of the mountain. Due to Tiu Van's powerful move, Dong Yutong, inside, unknowingly fell backward, confused as to what was happening. He stumbled and landed on his knees, pushing himself up with both hands. He turned his head back, confused, asking, what happened? Who did I offend in my seclusion? Ha, it seems like my cherished disciple is truly here. DTN emerged with a joyful and excited expression, having recognized the peculiar situation. He then said, it seems he's truly using this to settle personal scores. It's truly fitting. Hearing DTN, Zhang Dalai turned his head and smiled slightly before replying to him, this habit of using official duties to settle personal scores really can't be helped. The scene opens at the Handan Holy Land, in a forbidden area, a desolate and treacherous place, shrouded in thick fog and mist. Xiao Yun and Zhang Dalai were on their way to Lei Zi's residence. A mysterious black coffin appeared in front of them. Zhang Dalai clasped his hands behind his back and walked forward, saying to Xiao Yun, don't underestimate this coffin. It's a treasure made from eternal life stone, capable of slowing down the flow of life essence. Aside from our Handan sacred land, only a few forces that have spawned heavenly emperors possess this. Xiao Yun followed his shadow and asked, how many Grand Saint powerhouses and how many peak Grand Saints does our sacred land have now, Lei Zi? Zhang Dalai replied, this is a secret of our sacred land. Forget it, I'll tell you. Our Handan sacred land currently has 4 peak Grand Saint powerhouses and 7 ordinary Grand Saints. Hearing this secret, Xiao Yun was a little surprised and responded, this power is not weak at all. I thought there were only 2 of us. Why does the outside world say that the Handan sacred land has declined? Could it be that Mount Tai's sacred land is tarnishing our reputation? Zhang Dalai answered him solemnly, the true power is not weak, but their life essence is running out. Bad Diet and I are considered decent. The other 2 peak Grand Saints are in seclusion, sealing themselves. They might die in battle. Xiao Yun quickly understood and pondered. The battle-ready Emperor's life essence is fading, and a group of peak Grand Saints are about to die. No wonder everyone says the Handan sacred land has declined. Zhang Dalai saw his unstable expression and reassured him, don't worry too much. With you in the Handan sacred land, it'll be fine in a while. Xiao Yun was speechless and thought to himself, I'm just an emerging novice, far from becoming a saint. Without wasting any time, Xiao Yun spoke, is it really impossible to increase the life essence of you great ones, Lei Zhu? Zhang Dalai stood there, arms crossed, explaining to him. We have already used up all the treasures that increase life essence. Unless we can obtain the essence blood of a great emperor or break through to the battle-ready emperor realm. But this realm isn't easy to break through. He furrowed his brows, his face darkened with worry, saying, actually, when you forged the Handan body last time, it had some influence on me. Loosening my battle-ready emperor bottleneck. Zhang Dalai intended to rely on Xiao Yun. Unfortunately, the time was too short. If you could forge the Handan body again, I might be able to break through to battle-ready emperor. Xiao Yun nodded in agreement and smiled softly, forge the Handan body again? I can do that. Then an idea popped into his mind. If I make the Te Lin split into another Handan body, wouldn't that be fine? He added, actually, I can forge the Handan body again. My previous Te Lin split is an independent life form. He's only a semi-Handan body. I can make him ascend to Handan body as well. Zhang Dalai was surprised, his eyes wide with disbelief. Is that possible? He thought to himself, ascension to Handan body is that easy? He approached Xiao Yun and placed his hands on his shoulders, looking friendly. Xiao Yun said, it's true. He quickly replied, that's fantastic. I should tell Bad Diet to prepare as well. Maybe he has a chance too. Xiao Yun answered, okay, I'll go pick up my wife for you first. After your wedding, I'll discuss this with you. Zhang Dalai was undoubtedly overjoyed. The Handan sacred land has truly gained a formidable talent. The Handan sacred land will rise again. Soon, a breathtaking landscape painting appeared before them. This was Sun Tue Tong. Inside Sun Tue Tong, two beautiful women, Tang Van Van and Lun Yanwan, were present. Van Van was sitting behind her and said, "Master, this time, the Handan Sacred Land resurrected the Handan Great Emperor. They're extremely powerful. Not only did they kill a battle-ready emperor, but they also killed several peak Grand Saint powerhouses." Nianwen heard this, raised her head and teased her, "Little girl, where did you hear so much nonsense? Go outside and see if your senior brother Xiao has arrived yet." Tang Van Van, her face beaming, obediently ran out, but didn't forget to reply to Nianwen, "Yes." She looked towards Xiao Yun. He had finally arrived, hovering in the sky. Tang Van Van contemplated, "It's senior brother Xiao, and senior brother Zhao Wukuk has also come. This is great." She waved excitedly, "Senior brother Xiao." Xiao Yun looked down and immediately recognized her, it's junior sister Tang. But suddenly, as Tang Van Van was about to approach them, she was stopped by a blue barrier, leaving her perplexed. Seeing Tang Van Van slowly falling below, Xiao Yun was alarmed. "Oh!" He was taken aback, but quickly realized what was going on, exclaiming, "The mountain protection formation, blocking me from entering. What's going on?" Xiao Yun hovered outside, looking at Tang Van Van with confusion. "Junior sister Tang, what's happening?" Hearing his question, she was equally clueless. "Junior sister, I don't know either." Li Yamo suddenly appeared behind her, remaining silent. Tang Van Van was quite surprised to see him and asked with a hint of petulance, "Elder Li, why are you blocking senior brother Xiao at the gate?" He stared at her with a mixture of anger and envy, then calmly said, "Lu junior sister is the dream goddess of Elder DTN, and he snatched her away. Would I, Li Yamo, have any face if I let you take her away so easily?" Xiao Yun, hearing this from outside, was furious and clenched his fists, asking him, "Senior Li, what do you want for us to enter?" He stood proudly inside, hands behind his back, replying, "You're a junior, I won't bully you." Then he made a suggestion, "I have a disciple. If you can defeat him, I'll let you in." He received the request and muttered to himself, "I wonder what the cultivation level of Senior Li's disciple is." On the other hand, Li Yamo looked at him intently and said, "You're quite cautious. Don't worry, my disciple's name is Lin Xie, a few years older than you, also an emerging novice. I won't bully you." Xiao Yun was not to be outdone. He was not intimidated by Li Mo's veiled words, smirked, narrowed his eyes at him and pondered, "An emerging novice dares to challenge me? He's underestimating me. Well, this is a bit much. Could this be a mere formality?" After a while, he confidently stood facing him and replied, "Okay, bring him here." Li Mo raised his head and answered, "He's already here." The people inside were stunned, their mouths agape, expressing their bewilderment with excited chatter. Someone said, "Is this the welcoming party from the Handan Sacred Land? This is going to be interesting." Another agreed, "That's right. Senior brother Lin Xie will definitely teach him a lesson. Let's see how they'll admit defeat." Soon, Lin Xie arrived, looking older, not much younger than Li Mo. He politely clasped his hands, bowed respectfully to Xiao Yun and said, "Xiao. Senior brother Xiao, I'm Lin Xie, I hope you'll show mercy." Witnessing this awkward scene, seeing Lin Xie's demeanor, Xiao Yun's expression became a mixture of disbelief and bewilderment. His jaw dropped and he stood there, dumbfounded. "Goodness, this is a few years older, you mentioned? He could be my grandfather." He then politely responded, "Senior brother Lin, you're being too courteous. We came to welcome the bride, so naturally, we must follow the rules. We won't get into a lengthy discussion." Lin Xie, his arrogance a stark contrast to his earlier demeanor, replied, "Then I won't be polite." Blue light emanating from Lin Xie's body, he slowly channeled his cultivation power, soaring into the air with a haughty laugh. Innocent stones nearby were lifted by him, floating in the air. Xiaoyan stared at him blankly, then he realized, "Oh, that's how it is. This old man can use the power of the mountain protection formation to create a domain. No wonder an emerging novice dares to challenge me." He seized the opportunity and rushed towards Xiao Yun, his fist clenched, aimed at Xiao Yun, who was standing below. But he didn't forget to say, "I'm sorry, I'm borrowing the power of the mountain protection formation. Please don't blame me, senior brother Xiao." Oh, heavens, this Lin Xie is infuriating. Xiao Yun was not to be outdone. He unleashed his Handan domain. Standing with his legs apart, his stance exuding an aura of magnificence. Large golden circles began to appear on the ground, and 3 flower petals soared into the air. He firmly stated, "Senior brother Lin, don't worry about it." His move was activated. Golden rays of light surrounded Lin Xie, making him float in the air, unable to comprehend what was happening. He was speechless, silently pondering, how is this possible? The rules have been reversed. The power of the grand formation has vanished. The battle was brief. Lin Xie stood pathetically before Xiao Yun, his feet unsteady. He hastily clasped his hands, begging for mercy, I surrender. Liu Mo, Tang Vanvan, and the onlookers all stiffened, their voices filled with surprise. He surrendered. Turning to Lin Xie and Xiao Yun, Lin Xie was the first to speak. Senior brother Xiao, why did I feel the rules disappear? I couldn't control the formation using the rules. Xiao Yun replied, clearing up his confusion, it's because of my Hundan domain. I have comprehended the Hundan Tao. In my Hundan domain, all rules and order belong to the chaos, and I define them. Lin Xie, finally understanding, acknowledged Xiao Yun's talents. Senior brother Xiao is truly a prodigy. I, Lin Xie, am convinced. Xiao Yun, with the arrogance of a victor, turned to Liu Mo, can we enter now? Liu Mo, feeling a pang of shame for being outsmarted, had to honor his promise. This old man always keeps his word, of course. At this crucial moment, the headmaster of Sun Tuei Tong appeared. He wore elegant, luxurious clothes, his hands behind his back, as he looked at Xiao Yun, saying, Divine Sun Xiao, DTN wants to marry our junior sister Lu. I have no objections, but you must pass my test before you can take her away. After all, she was also the dream goddess of this headmaster. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yun turned back and glanced at him. He stood there, dumbfounded, his expression turning comical. He thought to himself, oh, my wife-to-be is quite popular. Xiao Yun, always respectful, clasped his hands, bowed to him, and asked, Headmaster, what is the test? Do you have a disciple who wants to spar with me? The headmaster replied, sparring is out of the question. I want to see, throughout the 9 continents, how many at the same level can defeat you. He held a scroll in his hand, unfolding it. The inside of the scroll was strangely dazzling, making it impossible to see clearly. Streams of light began to rise, intertwining to form a beautiful landscape painting, seemingly depicting a certain place. The painting zoomed in, becoming clearer. A desolate, secluded place was visible in detail. Xiao Yun, intrigued by this, looked at it with curiosity. Fong Vanvan also couldn't help but see this. She hurriedly approached the headmaster and asked, that is Master's mountain peak. Headmaster, what do you want to do? The headmaster held the scroll in his hand, surprised by her sudden question, and turned to answer. This scroll is the treasure of our Sun Tuei Tong. It records the Tao and Dharma of our founding ancestor. It is worth the same as a battle-ready Emperor Sutra. Xiao Yun was alarmed, his face showing skepticism. He widened his eyes, speechless, silently pondering. A battle-ready Emperor Sutra? Isn't this a battle-ready Emperor-level sutra? No wonder it could easily absorb heavenly realm experts like Lun Yan. He stood before the headmaster and asked earnestly, Headmaster, what is this test? I can't break through this mountain water painting. The headmaster, one hand outstretched and the other holding the scroll, explained his request to Xiao Yun. This is a battle-ready Emperor weapon. Of course, you can't break through it. My test is simple. You only need to enter the mountain water painting and comprehend the Tao and Dharma of our founding ancestor. If you can junior sister Lu from within, you can take her away. Tang Vanvan immediately spoke up. Headmaster, you're not causing trouble, are you? Comprehending the Tao and Dharma of the founding ancestor takes at least several decades. This will make Master and Elder DTN panic. Seeing her clear alarm, the headmaster reassured her, don't worry. 1 month in the mountain water painting is equivalent to 1 hour in the outside world. Divine Sun Zhao's insight is so high, he'll be able to come out quickly. Tang Vanvan responded, it still takes several months. Finally, the headmaster turned to Xiao Yun, who was standing there, and said, such a genius like Divine Sun Xiao surely won't need much time, right? Moreover, this is a great opportunity. Comprehending an additional Tao will be of great help to cultivators. Xiao Yun politely clasped his hands and bowed, showing his gratitude. Thank you, headmaster, for giving me this opportunity. Xiao Yun said this, but his facial expression changed rapidly. He closed his eyes, smiled awkwardly, his face turning pale with disappointment, perhaps not as he expected. He pondered, I thought it would be some kind of test. It turns out it's just this? Poor headmaster, doesn't he know he's facing a cheater? Then he said, I wonder what kind of Tao this is. Hearing his question, the headmaster chuckled lightly and replied, the Tao of water. Hearing his reply, Xiao Yun was both surprised and thrilled. His eyes widened. It's the Tao of water. Perfect. Xiao Yun, always eager for efficiency, didn't waste any time. He quickly stepped into the painting and said, "I'm going in." The headmaster watched and said, "Divine Sun Xiao, I must clarify, in case you're late, I won't be held responsible." Xiao Yun replied, "Headmaster, don't worry." Soon, Zhao Wukuk followed, rushing into the mountain water painting. He didn't forget to tell the headmaster, "Count me in." Tang Van Van, witnessing all of this, was indignant. Her eyes widened, her jaw dropped, and she clenched her fists, repeatedly reminding him, "Headmaster, if you do this, aren't you afraid that Elder DTN will come and beat you?" The headmaster protested, somewhat dissatisfied with Tang Van Van. "You little wretch, who are you siding with? Why are you thinking about someone else's interests instead of your family's?" Tang Van Van smiled amicably, approached the headmaster, and gently explained, "Of course, I'm on my master's side. Master wants to join the Han Dan sacred land, so naturally, I will too." Elder DTN has already broken through. It would be easy for him to beat people up now. The headmaster turned, hearing her heartfelt words, and suddenly burst into tears, lamenting, "This sect is unfortunate. Getting worse by the day, people's hearts are turning cold." Next, the headmaster calmly walked forward, hands behind his back. Tang Van Van was a little surprised. She asked, "Headmaster, where are you going?" He replied, "Of course, I'm going to pack up and leave. Otherwise, I'll wait for DTN to come to my door." "I find your argument very reasonable." Hearing this, she was stunned, her face helpless. She scratched her head a couple of times. At that time, an elderly man, with a long, white beard, stepped forward, angrily asking the headmaster, "Headmaster, you're leaving. What should we do?" The headmaster reassured him, "Don't panic. The next step is up to the deputy headmaster." The deputy headmaster of Sun Tuatong coldly replied, "Headmaster, I have something to do and have to leave the sect. Or you can just give this to someone else to handle." The headmaster was startled by this refusal from the deputy headmaster and turned back, taken aback. The subsequent scene, naturally, the headmaster wouldn't let this go. He quickly chased after the deputy headmaster, who was dashing away, and shouted loudly, "Deputy Headmaster Lu, you're being unrighteous." The deputy headmaster was more cunning. While dashing at lightning speed, he shouted back in response, "I have something to do. I'll pack up first. Goodbye." Tang Van Van and the others who remained were completely bewildered by this scene. Their jaws dropped, and they thought, "These two are definitely not our headmaster and deputy headmaster. Oh, they've lost so much face that even their beloved disciple doesn't want to acknowledge them." Inside the mountain water painting, Xiao Yun and Zhao Wukuk were hovering in the air. Xiao Yun asked, "You're here for the excitement?" Zhao Wukuk crossed his arms and replied, "Are you stupid? Of course, I'm here to comprehend the Tao." Xiao Yun reached out and touched the protective barrier, saying to himself, "It seems like I can only break through this wall after comprehending the Tao." In contrast to Xiao Yun's gloomy demeanor, Zhao Wukuk boldly charged forward, using his fiery fist to punch the protective barrier with all his might. Xiao Yun stood behind him, snickering, "What are you doing? Do you think you're stronger than the founding ancestor of Sun Tuatong? Using your fists to attack the Tao, are you making a joke?" Zhao Wukuk was confused. "Strange, the water is so soft, but this wall is as hard as steel." Xiao Yun approached the wall and immersed himself in thought. The simple thinking of this old fellow has a certain logic. Why does something weak become strong? Could it be a countershock? No, that's wrong. It must be that detachment leads to the ultimate realm. Forget it, I should start comprehending. At this moment, a notification arrived, using one comprehension of the water Tao within the mountain water painting. Another notification arrived, the same as before, using one comprehension of the water Tao within the mountain water painting. Soon, after a cup of tea, Xiao Yun's thoughts began to emerge, "It's done. This Tao is truly the detachment that leads to the ultimate realm." Xiao Yun furrowed his brows, opened his eyes wide, and pondered, "This battle-ready emperor weapon is a true treasure." Comprehending the water Tao here was so quick. Suddenly, a hand reached out and gently touched the wall, a mere touch causing it to gradually crumble and shatter. Lu Nianwen knelt on the ground, completely bewildered, and asked herself, how is this possible? It's only been a few hours. He's comprehended the founding ancestor's Tao. He's a monster. Xiao Yun stood behind her, sternly looking at Zhao Wukuk, who was overwhelmed, and exclaimed, "Hey, how did the water wall break?" At this moment, Lu Nianwen appeared out of nowhere, explaining their confusion. She told them, "Xiao Yun has comprehended the great Tao of the founding ancestor. The water wall will naturally shatter. We can go out now." Hearing this, Zhao Wukuk was instantly incredulous and turned to ask Xiao Yun, You've comprehended this kind of Tao?" How is that possible? It's only been so little time. You must have comprehended it beforehand, right? Xiao Yun, proud and unconcerned, replied, it's because you're clueless. A genius like me is rare, once in 10,000 years. It's easy for me to comprehend this Tao. Zhao Wukuk was now furious. He gaped with tears streaming down his cheeks. Damn it, I was born, but then Xiao Yun was born. Ignoring Zhao Wukuk's cries on the side, Xiao Yun politely addressed Lun Yanwen, wife, it's getting late. I'm afraid master is worried, let's go. Lun Yanwen, with her gentle and affectionate beauty, replied, okay. You've worked hard this time. He moved to Zhao Wukuk's position and waved his hand, calling him, let's go, you idiot. Hearing his words, they were filled with hidden meaning. The scene shifted to the headmaster and the deputy headmaster. The headmaster finally caught up and boldly threatened the deputy headmaster, you really dared to run? Do you believe I will expel you from the sect? The deputy headmaster was not to be outdone. He was not afraid, and while running, he turned back and retaliated, you dare expel me? I'll spread the news about how you snuck out to watch others bathe. Knowing his secret was about to be revealed, the headmaster shouted, shut up, you scoundrel. The deputy headmaster retorted, don't be noisy, run quickly. The headmaster yelled, that's right, run away quickly. Suddenly, both of them abruptly turned around, attracted by something. The deputy headmaster was curious, what's that sound? Instantly, both of them were utterly horrified, their faces contorted in a comical manner. Their mouths gaped open, their eyes bulged out, as if trying to pop out, their brows were drenched with sweat. They simultaneously exclaimed, oh, my goodness, they're out. The two old men continued to bicker. The deputy headmaster crossed his arms, looking at the headmaster with sarcasm. You were afraid of being beaten by DTN, so you didn't arrange any test, right? The old headmaster sucked his fingers, as if struck by a guilty conscience, sweating profusely. He didn't dare look directly at him and immediately denied, I'm afraid of DTN? I'm the headmaster of a sect. How could I be afraid of him? What are you talking about? The deputy headmaster, with a judging gaze, continued to probe, then why did you run? Seeing that he couldn't deny it anymore, and if he continued on this topic, he would lose more face, the old headmaster changed the subject. Stop talking about useless things. I really have condensed a water wall. The deputy headmaster's eyes suddenly lit up, he was surprised, his mouth agape. A bead of sweat rolled down his cheek as he exclaimed, oh, my goodness, this means Xiao Yun is truly extraordinary. The other immediately replied, who said he wasn't? The deputy headmaster pressed his advantage, poking fun at the headmaster's pain. Hee, this time, you've lost everything. You couldn't stop him, but you even helped him comprehend the Tao. Hee. The headmaster completely erupted, he raised both hands in front of him, unable to control his emotions anymore. Having nothing left and being laughed at for his pain. His eyes widened as he glared at the deputy headmaster, angrily yelling, do you think I care? Shut up. Xiao Yun walked from the gate towards the headmaster and deputy headmaster, bowed and thanked him. Thank you, headmaster. If it weren't for the mountain water painting, it would be very difficult for me to comprehend the water Tao. Are you leaving? Don't you want to have a celebratory drink? The headmaster followed his lead and made an excuse to decline. Right, I have something to do at the moment. I can't go. Xiao Yun expressed his gratitude. I owe you more than just thanks. I'll invite you to have a drink some other day. He turned and left. The old headmaster raised his hand in farewell, gazing at his departing figure, his eyes appearing dazed. Deep in his heart, tears streamed down his face. He was furious and distraught, lamenting his own foolish actions. My dream goddess was taken by that scoundrel DTN, and I was foolish enough to help his disciple comprehend a Tao. There is no opponent in the world as stupid as me. As he walked, Xiao Yun smiled, his face satisfied. He thought to himself, the 7 great sword Taos. I've comprehended one Tao from the 3 great sword Taos, earth, water, and wind. When I have time, I'll take a look at the essence of the lightning Tao from Lei Zhu. The remaining ones are fire and space. The time sword Tao is already in my hands. The only one missing is the space sword Tao of my grandson. Fantastic. Tang Banban, standing beside him, suddenly spoke, Senior Brother Xiao. You have to make your junior sister's wedding grand. You've been waiting for this moment for many years. Xiao Yun clasped his hands, smiled brightly, and confidently replied, don't worry about that. Master has already sent word to all the sacred lands and sects, especially the grandest T&D chain. At that time, the heavenly talents of all places will come to attend the wedding. Make sure you watch closely. In T&D chain, the cloudy sky was dotted with a rainbow. The sunlight shining down on every house, illuminating every corner of the street. Here, they encountered the familiar figures of Wolong Xin and the three Sword Brothers. Sword 1, Sword 2, and Sword 3, strolling down the street. Sword 3 exclaimed, "This T&D chain is truly magnificent." Sword 2 agreed, "Of course, this is one of the 3 super cities in the world." Sword 1 turned to Sword 2, smiled, and added, "They say that at that time Emperor Qin was the only one in the 10,000 worlds. Many great emperor families couldn't keep up with him. Unfortunately, when he entered the immortal path, his empire was also destroyed." Sword 3 curiously asked his elder brother, "Where are we going next?" Sword 1 turned and replied, "The previous generation's heavenly talent of the Handan Sacred Land is getting married in a few days. We must attend the wedding on behalf of the Sword Sect. Let's go, we'll get to know Zhang Tu's top heavenly talent, Xiao Yun." Qin Bingyu and Qin Jian stood on the top floor, overlooking the scene below. Qin Jian looked down and said, "The people from the Sword Sect and the Deep family have arrived at the Imperial City." Sure enough, people from outside, once they reach Zhang Tu, will come to our Qin family's capital to see what's going on. Qin Bingyu corrected, "There is no Qin family capital. That was a long time ago. Now, only our Northern Sea Qin family exists." Qin Jian turned around, questioningly asking the princess, "I heard from the elders that T&D chain has the legacy of the Heavenly Emperor. I wonder if that's true." Qin Bingyu smiled and confirmed, "It's true, but it's not necessarily the legacy of our Qin family's ancestor." Qin Jian raised doubts and inferred, "So you mean that it's the legacy left by a later Heavenly Emperor?" Hearing this, Qin Bingyu, with a calm expression, explained, "No, it's the legacy of the ancient Heavenly Emperor. Compared to our Qin Heavenly Emperor, the legacy of the Handan Great Emperor is stronger than the previous one. Even our ancestor came here because of this legacy." Qin Jian understood and was extremely surprised. He couldn't believe it and repeatedly asked to confirm, "Is this true? How is that possible? Isn't our ancestor the first Heavenly Emperor?" Qin Bingyu turned back and looked outside, her eyes calculating something. She answered, "Our ancestor is the first recorded Heavenly Emperor. Perhaps there were even stronger beings during the ancient times. However, don't think too much about it. Let's go to DTN's wedding first and meet Xiao Yun." Qin Jian obeyed, "Yes." With that, each releasing a stream of spiritual energy that enveloped their bodies, they swiftly used light footwork to leave the building and fly into the sky. In another location, 3 people witnessed this scene. They watched intently as 2 streaks of light, purple and blue, soared into the sky. They were the representatives of the Deep family, Deep Jian, Deep Fai, and Deep Feng. Deep Jian, clasping his hands, spoke, "Are the Qin family looking for the Heavenly Emperor's legacy?" Deep Fai turned around and speculated, "It's been so many years, how easy is it to find a legacy?" They probably also came to DTN's wedding. Then, Deep Fai instantly changed his expression, furrowed his brows, and said seriously, "You've all heard about what happened to Deep Dao, right? Although he was a side branch of our Deep family, he was still a member of the Deep family. Xiao Yun directly killed him. This time, we must get an answer from him." Deep Jian, quick with information, added that Xiao Yun has Zhao Wukok as his follower. It's not easy to deal with him. Deep Fai's gaze sharpened, the sunlight shone through, making his pupils change from dark purple to red. He looked determined to avenge, confirming, "Don't worry. I've already talked to Zhao Wukok. Zhao Wukok believes that the gap between him and Xiao Yun is not big. And I crossed the Dao Tribulation last time, defeating him won't be a problem." Deep Fai turned and handed Deep Feng a letter, saying, "Deep Feng, this is my challenge letter. Go to the Handan Sacred Land first. Give this to Xiao Yun. When DTN has his wedding, it will be the day I defeat him. He has no respect for the Deep family. I won't show any respect for his master either." Deep Fai agreed. "This time, we must let Zhang Tu know that our Deep family, with 2 emperors in one family, is the true number 1 in the 9 continents." The scene shifted to Emperor Peak. A hazy sun appeared behind the clouds, its dazzling light shining on the mountains and hills, creating a picturesque scene. In the midst of this magical landscape, someone's thoughts echoed, "This heavenly outsider is a bit interesting." It turned out to be Xiao Yun, practicing here. He was in a state of seclusion, his entire body enveloped in a circle of spiritual energy, hovering in the air. Above him was a sword about 1.5 meters long, emitting dazzling golden light. He focused his eyes, practicing with closed eyes, and thought, "I need to condense the past sword from the past, and then condense the future sword from the future, and finally combine them with the present sword. The 3 swords will combine into one. However, it truly resembles the future sword of the Heaven Sword Sacred Land. Suddenly, he woke up, his eyes widened as if he had realized something. I understand, it's not that it's very similar, but that it's a counterfeit. The Jun family imitated the future sword to create the Heavenly Outsider, so although the Heavenly Outsider is a sword Tao divine art, it's ultimately based on the time Tao. Understanding everything, Xiao Yun was stunned. His expression was a mixture of disbelief and disappointment. Are these great emperors so shallow? I have to ask Han Danjiang. He immediately went to find Han Danjiang to confirm his suspicions. Han Danjiang, do you know why the Jun family's Tao great emperor created such a useless divine art like Heavenly Outsider? Was it because he was shallow? Han Danjiang quickly denied, no. Actually, every great emperor wants to comprehend an additional Tao. As long as they comprehend 2 or more Taos, they can become heavenly emperors. These are just their research and experiments. Xiao Yun tilted his head, as if enlightened. So that's how it is. No wonder they became great emperors and still read the sutras of others. If I become an emperor simultaneously through the Han Dan Tao and the Sword Tao, wouldn't I be the strongest heavenly emperor? Forget it. Those things are too far off. I should still comprehend 2 divine arts and cultivation techniques first. Another day passed. It was now the next day. The sky was still blue and cloudy, the warm sunlight shining on the mountains and hills. Xiao Yun continued his secluded practice. He clasped his hands on his thighs, 3 swords, blue, yellow, and red, hovering in front of him, each radiating its own aura. Xiao Yun focused his energy and thought, after spending a whole night, I finally comprehended the time sword intent. The future sword and Heavenly Outsider are complete. He raised his hand and merged the 3 swords into one. He continuously thought, other people's past swords are probably a bit ordinary. But if my past sword can return to the moment when I summoned the great emperors, my Heavenly Outsider would be terrifying. Unfortunately, with my current level, I can't go back that far. However, even now, this is a stronger move than the Han Dan fist. Once the merger was complete, he stood up and left the practice area. He stopped at the door, sighed, and thought, the only thing missing is my grandson's space Tao. After walking a few steps, he encountered Fu Lin and Zhao Wukok. She handed a letter to Xiao Yun. Young master, someone has sent a challenge letter to you. Xiao Yun pondered, his hand stroking his chin in suspicion. Who dares to challenge me? Zhao Wukok, with his arms crossed, joined in. I'm also curious. Who wants to challenge you? Fu Lin looked at the letter, her face filled with worry. It's Deep Phi from the deep family of Eastern Wilderness, the peerless heavenly talent with the imperishable Zhan Huang body. Xiao Yun held the letter in his hand and smiled. So it's him. He turned to Zhao Wukok, smugly saying, you and Deep Phi have sparred before. Didn't you tell him that my strength is very strong? Zhao Wukok, as if remembering something, broke into a cold sweat, his face changed, and he stammered, this. A segment of memory came back. Deep Phi and Zhao Wukok were having a conversation. He had probed Zhao Wukok. How does Xiao Yun compare to you? Zhao Wukok had confidently replied, it's a tie. He's powerful, but he has his limits. Now, all those memories came flooding back. Zhao Wukok began to realize the impact of his words at that time. He started to panic and thought to himself, back then, I had just crossed the Tao tribulation and almost said I was better than Xiao Yun. Thankfully, I didn't say it. Who would have thought that the invincible lone seeker was actually Xiao Yun? Deep Phi, I really didn't mean to deceive you. Seeing that he had been thinking for so long without answering, Xiao Yun crossed his arms and asked again, what? You're not saying anything? Zhao Wukok's face twitched. He looked away, stiffly affirming, of course, I did. Brother, you've been challenged anyway, so taking on this additional crime of fearlessness probably won't be a problem. Xiao Yun was surprised. His face showed a mix of amusement and disdain. I've already said that, and he still dares to challenge me? Deep Phi is getting arrogant. A golden aura emerged from the letter. 5 giant golden fingers, as if wrapped in flames, appeared. The mountain at Emperor Peak remained peaceful. The entire hand emerged. It was the heavenly giant hand. The pressure of its force was incredible. Does the mountain peak have anything to do with this? Xiao Yun saw that the heavenly giant hand was aimed at him and immediately understood. He smiled and said, it seems Deep Phi wants to use this to test my true capabilities. The palm is facing forward. It seems he's worried about destroying the mountain peak, which shows some courtesy. Then, as you wish. Fu Lin, worried, went to him and reminded him, young master, you're not defending yourself? Zhao Wukuk still didn't realize how strong Xiao Yun's current power was. He still thought he was just a big show-off. Using your flesh to receive the attack of a great emperor, you're really putting on a show. Unfortunately, show-offs get struck by lightning. The sky above Emperor Peak, boom, a huge explosion erupted. Only a swirling cloud of smoke remained in the middle, the heat radiating all around, without any impact on the mountain. The explosion forced Fu Lin to raise her hand to shield herself. She closed one eye, opened the other, looked up, and exclaimed in shock. "Young master, you just used your flesh to block this attack? How is that possible?" Zhao Wukuk could only stand there silently, observing. He was truly slapped by his previous thoughts, and it hurt. After blocking the previous move with a simple flick of his wrist, everything remained intact, leaving only a trail of black smoke rising into the sky. Xiao Yun radiated a fiery blue energy, and he realistically assessed, not bad, equivalent to 0.9 Zhao Wukuk. Zhao Wukuk, upon hearing this, turned black, his brows furrowed, his eyes filled with judgment. He gritted his teeth, angrily saying, "So, now I become your unit of measurement?" He was probably furious, but he couldn't do anything about it. After thinking it over, Zhao Wukuk still recognized his current combat strength. However, you're not wrong. That move was incredibly powerful. To withstand such an attack with your flesh, your body has already surpassed the primal ancient saint body. It's terrifying. Xiao Yun, on the other side, seized the opportunity. Unaware of any shame in being praised, he cast aside all humility, crossed his arms, and proudly said, "This is too weak. Even if I stood still, I wouldn't get hurt." The imperishable Zhan Huan body is just like that. Invincibility is truly lonely. Fu Lin could only chuckle. Tik Vu Zhan and Xiao Xia, below, remained silent. Zhao Wukuk was used to this. He accepted it unwillingly, let him be arrogant. The scene shifted to a certain inn. The sky was still clear and sunny. Inside the room, Deep Phi was resting. Sitting on the bed. He seemed to hear something, and his face showed a mixture of surprise and confusion. "Huh?" Deep Jian, arms crossed, stood leaning against the wall, asking, "How's the check going? Have you gotten the results?" Deep Phi pondered, "I'm not sure, because he didn't block the attack." Deep Jian furrowed his brows, showing bewilderment. Didn't block it? How is that possible? Deep Phi began to analyze. There are three possibilities. First, he dodged it. Second, he was killed before he could retaliate. Third, he's too strong and directly received this attack. That's right, he's the top heavenly talent of Zhang Tu. He can't dodge, and he can't be killed. You gotten closer to the truth. Deep Phi frowned, thought for a while, and still couldn't believe that this Xiao Yun could be that strong. He quickly denied it, but he absolutely couldn't have received my attack. It seems I'll have to meet him in person to get the answer. The sky had turned dark, with dark clouds appearing. Xiao Yun arrived at the forbidden land of the Han Dan sacred land. As soon as he landed, he shouted, "Lei Zhu, I'm here to visit you." As soon as he entered, he went to Lei Zhu and asked, "Lei Zhu, I want to see your lightning Tao. I'll try comprehending it." Lei Zhu sat up in the coffin and asked in return, "But what about your master's wedding? Guests will soon arrive to congratulate him. You're his only disciple, you had to welcome them on his behalf. How can you have time to comprehend the lightning Tao?" Xiao Yun, naturally, was Xiao Yun. He was still confident and replied, "I'll comprehend the Tao. It'll be quick. I won't miss the wedding." Lei Zhu, hearing this, was stunned. His eyes turned white, and he started to break out in a cold sweat. After a moment of silence, he spoke. "Quickly, you think comprehending the Tao is like buying vegetables at the market? If you weren't the hope of the Han Dan sacred land, I would have slapped you to death long ago." Lei Zhu stepped out of the coffin, sternly warning Xiao Yun, "Don't mess around. DTN's wedding is a big event. You absolutely cannot miss it." Xiao Yun persisted in persuading him, "How about this, let me see it for a day. If I can't comprehend it, we can schedule another time." Lei Zhu laughed loudly, turned to look at Xiao Yun, and said, "A day, all right. However, what good is a day? It's a waste of time." Then, he compromised and said, "Who told you to be a divine son?" With that said, Lei Zhu stretched out his hands. "This is the destruction Tao that I've cultivated. Try your best to comprehend it." Xiao Yun immediately assumed a state of secluded practice. A stream of lightning surrounding his body. The system notification appeared. Using one comprehension of the destruction lightning Tao. The system continued to display the same notification, using one comprehension of the destruction lightning Tao, for a whole hour. Xiao Yun was practicing, the amount of lightning surrounding him was thicker than before. He kept his eyes closed, focusing, and said, I understand. Lei Zhu was still lost in his dark thoughts. What the hell is this? His face showed extreme astonishment. He understands, there are even more talented people. Even if our ancestor is alive and is at the Great Emperor realm, he definitely wouldn't have this capability. He must be bragging. To prove Lei Zhu wrong, Xiaoyan gently raised a hand and unleashed the lightning god slash. A blue lightning pick shot out, its powerful energy radiating everywhere. Shards of glass shattered. This time, there was no way to deny it. Lei Zhu's expression was extremely exaggerated, almost comically exaggerated. He was so surprised that his face turned purple, his eyes bulged out as if they were about to pop out, his mouth opened wide, and he exclaimed, "Oh my goodness." His expression was as if he were saying, "My God. This guy is not human, he must be a monster." Xiaoyan chuckled softly and asked Lei Zhu humbly, "Lei Zhu, do we have any seniors who practice the fire Dao? I want to comprehend another Dao of fire." Zhang Daolei, arms crossed, looked at Xiaoyun, solemnly saying, "The fire Dao? Don't you already have the earth Dao, wind Dao, lightning Dao, water Dao, and Hundan Dao? What exactly are you trying to do? You'll choke on too much food." Xiaoyun stood straight, facing Zhang Daolei. "Ancestor, you forgot that I got the Universe Sword Sutra from the Lone Seeker on the Wanyao battlefield. To perfect it, I need to comprehend 5 sword Daos, earth, wind, water, fire, and lightning." Zhang Daolei furrowed his brows and reminded him, "The power of the sword Dao is very strong, but cultivating so many sword Daos will hinder your Dao ascension." He smiled, "I'm not going deep into comprehending the Dao. I'll just comprehend it superficially first. After Dao ascension, I'll take a step further and comprehend it more deeply." He thought to himself, the plan to take the Emperor weapon from Sword God Mountain is still confidential. "I'll tell my grandson when he comes." Zhang Daolei said, "So you're trying to comprehend 2 great Daos and become a heavenly emperor? You have big ambitions." Xiaoyun looked at Lei Zhu, smiling. Zhang Daolei continued, "I underestimated you. However, our sacred land doesn't have any saints or grand saints who practice the fire Dao." Hearing this, Xiaoyun was a little disappointed. "So, Lei Zhu, can I cultivate a different Emperor Sutra? I heard that our Hundan sacred land has several Emperor Sutras." Zhang Daolei crossed his arms in front of him, "An Emperor Sutra?" He furrowed his brows, pondering, others study Emperor Sutras. They might choke on too much food, but with Xiaoyun's insight, maybe he can really help. Then he reached behind him, "Follow me." The Emperor Sutra is kept at the Battle Ancestor's place, protected by an elder. "Let's go to him." He smiled and followed him. The two of them walked outside. It was still bright. They walked to the Battle Ancestor. The Battle Ancestor was asleep in a coffin. The lid opened 1/3 of the way. His hair was red. Xiaoyun looked at the Battle Ancestor. "Hey, the Battle Ancestor is so young?" Zhang Daolei, standing beside him, leaned over and whispered to him, "Don't be surprised. The Battle Ancestor has the eternal life body. So not only does he have a long life essence, he can also stay eternally youthful." Xiaoyun looked around, curiously asking, "The Battle Ancestor is so strong. He has the eternal life body? I thought it was the supreme body. When I was at the dragon's lair, I killed a primal ancient eternal life body. Could such trash actually be as strong as the Battle Ancestor?" Hearing this, Zhang Daolei was startled. He broke out in a cold sweat, his eyes wide. "Trash? That's the 2nd-level divine body, below the supreme body. Moreover, you're saying this in front of the Battle Ancestor. Is that really a good idea?" The Battle Ancestor's soul appeared from the coffin in front of the two of them, surrounded by green energy. Behind his back was a magical rain. The Battle Ancestor clasped his hands behind his back, closed his eyes, and smiled. "Body type can't determine your future achievements. When you joined the Hundan sacred land, weren't you just a 1st-level mortal body?" Zhang Daolei scratched his head and chuckled awkwardly. "Blame the young one for talking nonsense and disturbing our ancestor. Do you know how precious life essence is?" Xiaoyun looked up at the Battle Ancestor. "I apologize, Battle Ancestor." The Battle Ancestor said, "Don't worry, this thread of wool was left behind after I recovered last time. It won't affect my true self." Then, the Battle Ancestor looked down at Xiaoyun. "Your name's Xiaoyun, right? Can our ancestor recover again?" He raised his head and answered, "Battle Ancestor, no. Last time, it was because our ancestor left a mark on Hundan Jiang. The battle ancestor looked at him and smiled, sure enough. Our ancestor from hundreds of thousands of years ago thought of everything. Xiaoyan asked in confusion, battle ancestor, why did you say that? The battle ancestor looked at him, because, our ancestor left a rule for accepting disciples into the Hundan sacred land. Before joining the sacred land, you can't cultivate. The purpose was for the second Hundan body. You probably already know that cultivating other cultivation techniques will make it impossible to cultivate the Hundan Sutra. Xiao Yun was surprised, as if he had received an answer. So that's how it is. So, after I transmigrated, I was suppressed for 16 years. The battle ancestor smiled and added, this rule is also one of the main reasons why our Hundan sacred land has declined. Xiao Yun, now that you have forged the Hundan body, help me ask the Hundan Zong spirit to see if this rule can be broken. He agreed, okay, I'll ask him later. Can I choose an Emperor Sutra? The battle ancestor smiled. Of course, Tiu Lei, take him there. Zhang Delay looked up at the battle ancestor. Having received the battle ancestor's approval, Zhang Delay led Xiao Yun to the study and pointed, introducing him to the Emperor's Sutras. There are a total of 6 Emperor Sutras. Heavenly Demon Dance, Primal Ancient Divine Elephant Scripture, Heavenly Emperor Sutra 3, Immortal Demon Art, Lightning Thunder Annihilation World Record, 5 Elements Saint Scripture. Xiao Yun picked up a book and flipped through it. Heavenly Demon Dance is for female cultivators. Primal Ancient Divine Elephant Scripture is mainly for demonic beasts. Heavenly Emperor Sutra 3 must be gathered all 3 volumes to cultivate. Next, he took 3 books, Immortal Demon Art, Lightning Thunder Annihilation World Record. 5 Elements Saint Scripture, placed them in front of his chest, and presented them to Zhang Delay. He smiled brightly. Then I'll cultivate Immortal Demon Art, Lightning Thunder Annihilation World Record, and 5 Elements Saint Scripture. Seeing the 3 books in Xiao Yun's hands, he widened his eyes in shock and broke out in a cold sweat. You're adding the Handan Sutra. You're planning to cultivate 4 Emperor Sutras simultaneously? Even if you have higher insight, you can't be so bold. Bad Diet, hands clasped behind his back, stepped out from inside, interrupting their conversation. Wait, you can cultivate Lightning Thunder Annihilation World Record in 5 Elements Saint Scripture, but the Immortal Demon Art, you can't cultivate it casually. Xiao Yun and Zhang Delay turned to look at Bad Diet. In the closed room, Xiao Yun faced the middle-aged man with an oversized beard and a vermilion mark on his forehead. He asked, is there any danger in cultivating the Immortal Demon Art? The man, known as the Old Ancestor, answered him, yes. First, to cultivate the Immortal Demon Art, you need to find someone with a good talent to be a furnace. You have to implant a demon seed and wait for 77 days and 49 nights before you can harvest, but when you harvest, you both have to be at the same realm. Once you fail, death is the only outcome. His expression was strangely serious, with a hint of worry in his eyes. I know you're invincible at the same realm, so you're not afraid, but there's something more important. Once you cultivate the Immortal Demon Art, you are essentially borrowing the power of the Demon King, and you will also be implanted with a demon seed. Xiao Yun was surprised, is that so? The Old Ancestor nodded. Yes. Therefore, once you use the Demon King's power more than 3 times, the demon seed will be activated, and your strength will be taken over by the Demon King. Therefore, I advise you not to cultivate it. Xiao Yun's expression remained unmoved. He stared at the book, explaining, this Immortal Demon Art can force people to ascend to a realm in a short period of time. Although it has a limit of 3 times, it also has an additional life-saving measure. I've decided to learn it. Knowing that he couldn't change his mind, the Old Ancestor replied, if that's the case, there's this. I'm not afraid to tell you. I've secretly implanted a demon seed in the body of the battle-ready Emperor Mu 11 from the Saint King sect. After you condense Demon Yuan, come find me. I'll give you his Demon Yuan. You can harvest him later. Xiao Yun was a little confused and asked, why don't you go harvest him yourself? The Old Ancestor, somewhat embarrassed, didn't know how to explain. He finally lamented, I want to, but he's a battle-ready Emperor. Not to mention whether I can ascend or not. Even if I ascend, I wouldn't be able to defeat him. The reason I implanted the demon seed was to seize this rare opportunity. Hurry back and condense the Demon Yuan. Xiao Yun, on the contrary, immediately sat down, clasping his hands in a meditative posture. Before the Old Ancestor, Xiao Yun summoned a powerful spiritual energy. This energy was dark red, wrapping around him, as if wanting to be absorbed. Without fear, he said, Old Ancestor, there's no need to wait for me to come back. I'll start condensing the Demon Yuan now. The other party immediately thought to himself, somewhat despising him. You think cultivating the Emperor's Sutra is that easy? Back then, it took me 500 years to condense Demon Yuan. The next second, the old ancestor was startled. His heart skipped a beat, and he exclaimed in shock, stammering, You. Xiao Yun exclaimed, Old ancestor, I have condensed the Demon Yuan. Before the old ancestor, who had spent 500 years cultivating, Xiao Yun had accomplished this in a blink of an eye. This was a shocking exclamation mark for the old ancestor, somewhat embarrassing. However, he panicked and thought, what kind of talent is this? It's truly cheating. It seemed like he was so angry that he burst into laughter. The old ancestor smiled and affectionately told him, Your talent is truly exceptional. It took me a long time to comprehend it initially, but you must remember that the Hundan Dao is your foundation. Xiao Yun, who was condensing Demon Yuan, innocently asked, Old ancestor, did I hear you say that you spent 500 years condensing Demon Yuan? Did I hear wrong? He still had a smile on his face and kindly denied, You must have heard wrong. 500 years, is my talent that bad? Xiao Yun was not very perceptive and insisted. Old ancestor, you. Finally, he exploded. He couldn't hide it anymore. He turned and yelled at him, You, what? Hurry up and prepare to receive the Demon Yuan. I'm not admitting it. What can you do? The old ancestor helped him gather the Demon Yuan and continued, With this, you'll be able to harvest the demon seed from Mu 11. Xiao Yun excitedly received it from him, replying, Yes. The dark red sphere finally merged, slowly integrating into Xiao Yun's chest. Receiving this absolute powerful force, Xiao Yun was knocked back as soon as he integrated it. Finally, he enjoyed it and broke through in a moment. He felt the Demon Yuan and was more excited than ever, happily thinking, Wow, this is the mid-emerging novice realm. Great. Seeing him like this, the old ancestor reminded him, Alright, go back and cultivate. Next, you'll face the Nirvana realm. This is your most dangerous stage before becoming a saint. You must be careful. Xiao Yun clasped his hands, filled with gratitude, Yes, old ancestor. He turned and left, thinking to himself, the cultivation level of the Nirvana realm will become unstable, but the body won't. The immortal demon art can condense the immortal demon domain. The lightning thunder annihilation world record can forge the 9 transformations lightning body. The 5 elements saint scripture can refine the 5 elements saint body. This can increase my chances of breaking through. The only problem is who to choose as a demon seed. Maybe I'll have a chance at the Sacred Land Exchange meeting. At Emperor Peak, Xiao Yun met Lin Xiaoxia. As soon as she saw him, her face was filled with worry. Senior brother, bad news. Eastern God King has become a saint. Xiao Yun furrowed his brows and asked, What does this have to do with us? Once a sacred land has someone become a saint, they must hold a saint ascension ceremony. And that Eastern God King, he wants to schedule the saint ascension ceremony on the day of Master's wedding. Don't you think it's infuriating? She said angrily. Xiao Yun, with a calm expression, reassured her, So that's how it is. No wonder you're so flustered. However, junior sister, don't worry, we'll go find that Eastern God King and settle the score. Without saying much, they immediately flew into the sky. Lin Xiaoxia asked, Senior brother, isn't it too risky to go there with just the 2 of us? Xiao Yun confidently replied, Don't worry. He's a new saint. I can easily suppress him. Lin Xiaoxia's face was a bit stunned, and she thought gloomily, He considers saints to be nothing more than vegetables? The vast expanse of heaven and earth, with picturesque mountains and rivers. Before them stood a towering peak, majestic and imposing, the place where the God King Peak was located. Sitting inside, Dong Enosi Duong faced Dong Tan Vong. The two were talking. Dong Enosi Duong spoke first. He said, Big brother, this time you've used force to suppress DTN. In the future, we won't have to avoid him anymore. Dong Tan Vang heard this and pointed at him, saying, Avoid? This is called a tactical retreat. Dong Tan Vang flew into a rage, scolding, Avoid DTN? Those words are unpleasant. If you weren't my brother, I would have beaten you up long ago. Dong Enosi Duong, very smooth-talking, said, Yes, everyone below a saint is an ant. DTN is just a bigger ant now. Dong Tan Vang agreed, arrogantly replying, That's right, I'm a saint now. But suddenly, Dong Enosi Duong's mood dropped. He told his brother, But big brother, we're setting the saint ascension ceremony on the day of DTN's wedding. I'm afraid he won't let it go. Dong Tan Vong, not even bothering to look at him, humped. So what if he doesn't let it go? My saint ascension ceremony is naturally arranged by me. Even the saint master can't control it. Who is DTN? Quote, Dong Noc Duan disagreed and advised. Big brother, that old ancestor can resurrect the founding ancestor of our Handan sacred land. It seems like he's become even more fond of Xiao Yun. He not only reminded Xiao Yun but deliberately slapped you. Could there be trouble? Hearing this, Dong Tan Van couldn't ignore it and asked, this matter, do you know who that old ancestor is? That old man sighed, feeling a little frustrated. The sacred land keeps the news tight, no one knows who he is. Dong Tan Vang agreed, that's right, he's our greatest reliance. So what? Today's Xiao Yun is like his master, DTN. He's just an ant. Don't say he's just a divine son, even if he is a divine son, so what? Wait until he lives to become a saint and then we'll talk. Dong Tan Vang sneered. Suddenly, a voice came from outside, Dong Tan Vang, get out here. Dong Ngoc Van recognized it, that's Xiao Yun's voice. Is he crazy? Even Dong Tan Van was surprised, looking in that direction. Dong Tan Vang slammed his hand on the table in anger. Both of them opened the door and went out. Dong Tan Van was truly furious. Xiao Yun, he's just as arrogant as his master, DTN. A mere emerging novice dares to come here and be disrespectful. Does he really think I'm a saint for nothing? He shouted, go. Finally, they arrived. Xiao Yun and Lin Xiao were standing below. As soon as he saw them, he pointed and shouted. Dong Tan Vang, I advise you to change the date of your saint ascension ceremony. Otherwise, the consequences will be yours to bear. But he didn't yield and shouted. You little brat, you dare to threaten a saint? Who gave you the courage? You have some nerve. Boom, boom, boom. Dong Tan Vang summoned his spiritual energy, transforming it into a gigantic blue force, ready to unleash it towards Xiao Yun. He said, do you really think I don't dare to teach you a lesson? Seeing this, the two of them were ready to fight. Xiao Yun summoned his familiar item. Lin Xiaoxia hurriedly warned, senior brother. But he calmly reassured her, junior sister, don't be afraid. Bang! The force from Dong Tan Vang slammed into Xiao Yun's enlarged bell. Both of them were shocked and recognized it, Hun Dan Zhong. Xiao Yun fired Hun Dan Zhong towards them, extremely unhappy. You're asking for this. Dong Tan Vang was not afraid at all. He arrogantly smiled and continued to fire his spiritual energy. The two colors, blue and gold, collided once again, another thunderous boom echoed. The force of the impact made Dong Tan Vang unable to stand, he vomited blood and was knocked back. This blow was like a bolt from the blue. He flew directly, boom, into the mountain peak. Big brother. Dong Ngoc Duong shouted urgently. He went to support Dong Tan Vang, who was battered and bruised, worriedly asking, Big brother, are you alright? Dong Tan Vang replied, don't worry, I'm fine. Dong Ngoc Duong's expression was extremely ugly. He was shocked and disbelieving, saying, how is that possible? That scoundrel actually managed to injure Big brother? Xiao Yun had already caught up and blocked their path, warning them. Dong Tan Vang, I advise you to change the date of your saint ascension ceremony. Otherwise, by the time of your ceremony, I'll use Handan Zhong to turn this place into flat ground, and see if you still have the face to hold the ceremony. Dong Tan Vang refused to give up and argued with him. You little brat, don't be arrogant. Do you really think you can control Handan Zhong? Don't forget, I know this Handan Dao too. Finally, Dong Tan Vang became serious. He clasped his hands, unleashing his moves. Streams of spiritual energy surrounded him. Facing Xiao Yun, he was full of confidence, I'm a genuine saint. Today, I really want to see if Handan Zhong listens to you or me. Dong Tan Vang summoned an extremely powerful stream of spiritual energy. He shouted, HRRRGH. The energy surge grew even more powerful. Merge. Dong Tan Vang commanded, using that spiritual energy to engulf Handan Zhong. Elder DTN had also arrived next to Xiao Yun. Seeing Dong Tan Vang's actions, he shouted, Dong Tan Vang, you're so audacious. You dare to control Handan Zhong within the Handan sacred land? Aren't you afraid of Lei Zhu punishing you? But Dong Tan Vang, blinded by jealousy, didn't care and retorted aggressively. It was your disciple who controlled Handan Zhong first. If Lei Zhu wants to punish, he should punish him first. Otherwise, how can he command respect? He finished, laughing arrogantly, ha 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 ha. At the same time, Handan Zhong, under his control, flew up as he wished. Achieving this, Dong Tan Vang was overjoyed, shouting a threat at Xiao Yun, you little brat. Today I'll let you experience the true power of the Emperor weapon. I usually don't have the chance to use Han Danzhong. This time, I finally have the opportunity to test its power. Xiaoyan stood watching this scene, feeling a bit speechless. He commented, making Han Danzhong wobble a bit, "You're happy about that?" Finally, not wanting to watch this despicable act anymore, Xiaoyan shouted, "Stop." Immediately, the bell stopped as instructed. But Dong Tanvan, seeing this, had a huge question mark above his head. He was startled and shocked. He turned to look, his eyes wide, witnessing Han Danzhong following Xiaoyan's orders. He hurriedly panicked, "What did you do? Why doesn't Han Danzhong respond to my call?" Xiaoyan smiled and sincerely said, "Because you're too ugly. Han Danzhong dislikes you. Only handsome guys like me are worthy of using Emperor weapons." The speechless bird chirped softly, watching Dong Tanvang's stiff, frozen expression. This moment, several disciples, seeing the conflict, ran to the scene. They panicked and exclaimed, "It's Dong Tanvang and the Divine Sun. Why are they fighting?" Someone nearby spoke casually, "Don't you know? Dong Tanvang is setting his Saint Ascension ceremony on the same day as Supreme Elder DTN's wedding." Another person responded, "Oh, my goodness, isn't that deliberately looking for trouble?" Yet another person chimed in, "Who says it isn't?" Zhang Delay and the man with a long beard, who Xiaoyan called the old ancestor, stood next to each other. He spoke, "This brat has completely colluded with Han Danzhong's spirit. I'm afraid that if we summon Han Danzhong, it won't pay any attention to us." Zhang Delay agreed, "That's right. Back then, I cried, made a fuss, and even tried to hang myself before Han Danzhong recognized me." Zhang Delay's face darkened as he continued. "Should we intervene? Xiaoyan will be fine, but Dong Tanvang has been beaten. It's hard to say he won't hold a grudge." But the man with the vermilion mark said calmly, "No need. The reason why we haven't had a saint born in all these years is because things have been too peaceful. It's time for a change." Xiaoyan reached out and used his spiritual energy to control, activating the bell. This control immediately made Han Danzhong slam into Dong Tanvang, who couldn't escape. He could only exclaim with astonishment, "You!" Boom, Han Danzhong crashed into Dong Tanvang, making him vomit blood for the second time. He looked towards Xiaoyan, bitterly saying, "You little wretch, if it weren't for the Emperor weapon, I could easily suppress you." Xiaoyan remained calm and responded, "Dong Tanvang, your cultivation level is higher than mine. So what if I use an Emperor weapon? If you have the guts, fight me at the same realm. I guarantee I won't use the Emperor weapon." Dong Tanvang, though truly foolish, wasn't entirely clueless. He was extremely annoyed and retorted, "Fight me at the same realm? Who could defeat you? You think I'm stupid?" Xiaoyan continued to use his spiritual energy to control Han Danzhong. Rays of light, like flames, gathered around his hand. Boom, he blocked Dong Tanvang's sneak attack. He was forced back with blood spurting from his mouth. Xiaoyan was also not doing well. His head ached, his face was pale, and he used his hand to support his forehead. I didn't expect using Han Danzhong to drain so much energy. Seizing this opportunity, Dong Tanvang played dirty. He flicked his sleeve, wanting to use spiritual energy. He laughed triumphantly, "Ha, you little brat, it seems you don't have enough spiritual energy. Let's see how I subdue you." Naturally, Elder DTN wouldn't allow his disciple to be bullied. He rushed forward, unleashing an incredibly powerful spiritual energy, exploding it into a shield. "My disciple can't handle it, but I can." Seeing this, Dong Tanvang was stunned. You've broken through to the edge of the saint realm. You've deliberately suppressed your cultivation and not broken through." The sound of sizzling echoed as Elder DTN displayed his circle of spiritual energy. He stood high above, looking down and judging, "Even a waste like you can become a saint, let alone me." At this moment, Dong Tanvang was speechless with astonishment and looked up at Elder DTN. Xiaoyan saw this and clenched his fists, exceedingly delighted. He hurriedly shouted with joy, "Master can break through to the saint realm at any time." "That's great." But that Dong Tanvang, as if lacking any shame, still couldn't see the dire situation he was in. He pointed and bragged in front of Elder DTN, "DTN, don't be arrogant. Don't forget, you haven't become a saint yet. You're far from being able to defeat me." In contrast to Dong Tanvang's petty arrogance, Elder DTN, hands clasped behind his back, slowly analyzed, "Dong Tanvang, saints are divided into several levels. Ordinary saints like you are nothing in my eyes." As he spoke, he used the Han Dan domain. In the blink of an eye, blue rays of light surrounded him, instantly filled with blooming lotus flowers, incredibly beautiful. Before Dong Tan Vang, those streams of spiritual energy gathered, gradually growing larger and approaching him. With a resounding thud, the foolish Dong Tan Vang, unable to dodge, was struck, sent sprawling, completely humiliated. Xiaoyun beamed with delight, praising his master. The Chaos Tao is so powerful. So, all these years, Master has been comprehending the Chaos Tao. Zhong Deloy, a bit surprised, concealed his emotions, saying, "The Emperor of Heaven has finally reached this level." The person standing behind him, with a vermilion mark on his forehead, nodded in agreement. "Very good. This is excellent news. We finally have a successor. I believe he's prepared. Ready to break through and become a saint immediately." Two people standing at a distance observed and remarked, "It's not just the Emperor of Heaven, the Saint Master is also on the verge of breaking through." Zhong Deloy acknowledged this, the Saint Master has always been stable. I believe his future achievements will rival those of the Emperor of Heaven. Zhong Deloy looked towards the distant sky, thoughtfully saying, "The guests for the Emperor of Heaven's wedding have arrived. It seems our Saint Land is about to be bustling for a few days." At the foot of the Chaos Saint Land, countless palanquin-bearing carriages had arrived. It was a sea of people. The first group to arrive was the Sword Sect's younger generation, led by the Sect Master. The welcoming party clasped their hands in salute. "Greetings, esteemed Sect Master of the Sword Sect." The leader of the palanquin nodded, "It's me." Hua Lang Xin, standing out in the procession, could be seen within the carriage group. Next came the Qin family, led by Saint Qin Lang. Qin Bingyu and others followed behind. The person escorting them to the entrance was surprised to recognize them, saying, "You are Qin Lang, right? I recognize you. We met once on the Tranquil Joy Peak of the same path." Qin Lang, realizing who it was surprised. "You were the peerless sword practitioner who slayed the demonic beast with one sword on Tranquil Joy Peak?" The person opposite him laughed humbly, "Peerless sword practitioner? I'm not worthy of that title. It's getting late, let's head to the Saint Land." Qin Feng replied, "All right." The carriages trailed behind each other, heading back to the Saint Land. The golden glow beneath created a mesmerizing scene. They had reached Emperor Peak. Qin Jian met his brothers and clasped his hands in greeting. "Brother Jianyi, have you encountered Brother Dugu?" The one addressed as Jianyi replied, "Qin brother, we've been trying to find Brother Dugu, but have been unable to locate him. Perhaps, Qin brother, you wish to challenge Brother Dugu?" Hearing this, Qin Jian chuckled, "How could I possibly be Brother Dugu's opponent? Challenging him wouldn't be anything but self-humiliation. However, as the future son-in-law of the Chaos Saint Land, I truly want to challenge him once." Jianyi replied, "That Xiaoyun is the top prodigy of the Middle Lands." "Qin brother, you're quite bold." Qin Jian didn't feel afraid. He understood how formidable his desired opponent was. He smiled, "I know I'm not necessarily his match. But I've only heard his name before, never truly met him. Just a minor name, it can't scare me." His gaze suddenly flashed with a terrifyingly determined glint, his voice somber. "Of course, I'm doing this for Bingyu to test the opponent's strength." Jianyi, impressed by his genuine reason, said, "Qin brother, you're truly brave. I admire you, I admire you." Qin Jian brushed it aside with a laugh, "Don't praise me so much. Let's go." Elsewhere, Dong Xinhuan lay unconscious on the ground, a large crater where he'd been knocked into the earth. Such is the fate of fools who talk too much. Emperor Tian's elder and Xiaoyun watched him for a while before Emperor Tian finally spoke. "Let's go, my cherished disciple, it's time to return." Even as they left, Xiaoyun still looked back with doubt, asking his master, "Master, I'm sure this guy won't cause any more trouble, right?" Emperor Tian walked away resolutely, confidently stating, "Don't worry, if he dares oppose my disciple, I'll beat him every time I see him." The scene shifts to Dongyu Peak. Dong Xinhuan was being helped onto a chair, clutching his chest. He said, "From now on, I'll be in seclusion to recover from my injuries." Dong Yutang said kindly, "Brother, we'll meet again someday. You should avoid Emperor Tian if possible." Dong Xinhuang snorted coldly, "Just because I can't handle him doesn't mean others can't. It's time for us to make a decision, to choose the primordial origin." Dong Yutang was shocked. "Brother, do you really have to take this step? Please reconsider." Dong Xinhuang said seriously, "So, what now? You still haven't made up your mind?" Dong Yutang replied awkwardly, no, I'm worried that Tai Su won't give us important roles. Think about it, who would trust a traitor? It's best to just take what we can get. Dong Xinwang's eyes were icy. You're not wrong. I'm about to enter the Saint's Path. Tai Su Holy Land holds a lot of vital cultivation resources. I can use those to quickly enhance my strength. If I can reach the Great Saint Realm, then it won't be a problem. By then, they won't dare to look down on us. Besides, now that I'm a saint, I might be able to get some inside information. If I can find out who used the trump card to summon the Patriarch back last time, that'll definitely be a huge contribution. Dong Yutang nodded, big brother, you're right. You make a lot of sense. The scene shifts to Defoam. Xiao Yun was talking with his master. He said, congratulations, master. You're about to become a saint. Based on your talent, master, we'll soon have a great saint as our backer. Elder DTN smiled, now that you have Lei Zhu as your backer at the Chaos Holy Land. Who would dare to offend you? Xiao Yun continued, master, we should give Dong Xinwang a good lesson. He won't be able to act recklessly anymore. DTN asked, recklessly? Do you mean he might betray our Chaos Holy Land? Not to that extent. Xiao Yun's eyes held a hint of suspicion. He asked, master, don't you think Dong Xinwang and Dong Yutang's advancements are a bit too fast? DTN stroked his chin thoughtfully, you're right. He became a saint a step ahead of the Saint Master. Dong Yutang's advancement was even faster than that guy, Tianyi. Maybe they're really colluding with Tai Su. It looks like we need to tell Lei Zhu. Xiao Yun suggested, master, let me do it. I'm the delicious treat in Lei Zhu's eyes. DTN nodded, all right. As they were talking, the chaos bell sounded, leaving Xiao Yun puzzled. Why did the chaos bell ring? DTN also seemed confused. There must be a distinguished guest arriving. The chaos bell only rings once for a Holy Land saint, a great clan emperor, or a great saint-level strong person. Xiao Yun asked his master with suspicion. Master, is it because of your upcoming wedding? Did those powerful forces send people to offer congratulations? DTN shook his head. I haven't reached that level of prestige to attract saints to congratulate me. They must be coming to investigate. After all, you've made a big stir recently. Xiao Yun chuckled, finding the situation interesting. Let them investigate. Maybe I can create some commotion that will make them even more wary of the Chaos Holy Land. It will give us more time. DTN smiled softly and said to his disciple. You're so full of tricks. What are you planning to do? You can't borrow the Patriarch's power anymore. Xiao Yun replied, Master, I can forge another chaos body. DTN gasped, ouch. He thought to himself, I've cultivated for so many years, and I can't even forge a chaos body. How come you make it seem like eating a meal? It's so frustrating. After discussing it, Xiao Yun prepared to leave. Before leaving, he reminded his master. Master, I'll go find the Patriarch and tell him about Dong Xinwang. Also, I'm going to forge another chaos body, so get ready. Go ahead, DTN replied. As Xiao Yun's bag disappeared, DTN sighed helplessly. Having such a talented disciple makes me feel like I, a heavenly prodigy, am actually a waste. The scene shifts. Xiao Yun has arrived at the Chaos Holy Land's restricted area. Inside, Xiao Yun and Lei Zhu were chatting. Lei Zhu looked at Xiao Yun and exclaimed. Your avatar is actually a semi-chaos body. That's amazing. Xiao Yun's soul incarnation avatar replied. I integrated a semi-chaos body obtained from the ancient Holy Land into my soul incarnation. That's why it's similar to my real body. He continued, let's not talk about that. I'm here to talk about Dong Xinwang. Him and Dong Yutang. Xiao Yun spoke for about 5 minutes. After hearing him out, Lei Zhu said. Seriously, I believe you. But we need evidence. Dong Xinwang is a saint. Without evidence, it'll affect the morale of the Holy Land. It'll be troublesome. After hearing Lei Zhu's instructions, Xiao Yun said, I understand. I'm just reminding you. I hope the patriarchs will be wary of him. Lei Zhu replied, don't worry. I'll report this to Bu Dai. Then, Xiao Yun suddenly held the Emperor's scriptures in both hands and offered them to Lei Zhu. Speaking of which, I've finished studying the Emperor's scriptures. I'm returning them to you. Lei Zhu was taken aback. He reached out to take the Emperor's scriptures. What? You finished studying all 3 sections? Xiao Yun chuckled in response, Patriarch, you're exaggerating. It's just a few emperor scriptures. Lei Zhu broke out in a cold sweat, his eyes blank. He changed the subject, I'm being dramatic. Anything else? He thought to himself, compared to this guy, I feel like a complete fool. Xiao Yun stood in front of him, didn't you say you wanted to see a chaos body forged again? Well, I'm here to forge one again, up close. It's not a big deal anyway. Lei Zhu replied helplessly, it's a good thing you're part of the Chaos Holy Land. If anyone else dared to act this way, I wouldn't be able to hold back from beating them to death. Xiao Yun interrupted, Lei Zhu, go find Patriarch Bu Dai. We're ready to begin. I'll stay outside and fool those people from outside. I'm sure we can pull it off. Lei Zhu smiled, alright? This time, I'm going to break through to Quasi-Emperor. The sky began to turn a dusky pink as evening approached. At this time, at the Chaos Holy Land's Saint Master's Palace. At the center, people began to arrive. The white-haired elder, DTN, walked with Xiao Yun and the Saint Master. He greeted them, thank you all for coming from afar. Those present looked at Xiao Yun and whispered, he looks so much like Dugu Wen. One person beside them nodded, yes, it's like they're the same person. Someone else contradicted, but his aura is different. A girl gazed at him, thinking to herself, is this the meat and wine monk, or Dugu Chubai? They're both alike, but neither seems to be the same. Another young man said, he definitely has some connection to Dugu Chubai. Xiao Yun rolled his eyes, thinking to himself, meeting my old friends again. It's so heartwarming, but I need to act arrogant, otherwise they'll recognize me. Xiao Yun clasped his hands in greeting and asked. You all are from Qin family and Sword Pavilion, right? Well, since we are the same generation, why don't we have a sparring match? Let me see the skills of the geniuses outside of the Central Plains. All of Xiao Yun's old acquaintances were surprised, and they all had the same thought. This guy is so arrogant. The Saint Master looked at DTN with confusion. What is Xiao Yun trying to do? DTN just chuckled, it seems my precious disciple wants to stir things up a bit. One person stepped forward toward Xiao Yun, clasping his hands and saying. Since you have issued the challenge, I, Qin Jian, accept. I'd like to ask for a lesson. Xiao Yun responded arrogantly, just you? I think it would be better if you all came together. Xiao Yun scoffed, continuing. Otherwise, I fear that before things even heat up, you'll already be defeated. The young man was furious. He said, I hope your strength matches your bragging. Xiao Yun smirked, come now, if you're not going to team up, then I'll spar with you using the sword Tao. I won't use my semi-chaos body. That way, I won't be bullying you. The young man's body emanated blue lightning, his face filled with rage. Just use your semi-chaos body, Xiao Shensi. After all, you're just using a semi-chaos body. I don't care. A dry leaf fell. Xiao Yun caught it between two fingers, laughing. You sure do talk loud. But can you catch this leaf first, then you can talk? Then, Xiao Yun launched the leaf in his hand at the speed of light, flying towards the young man. The leaf emanated a blinding yellow aura. Xiao Yun said, watch closely. This move that will defeat you is called Heaven's Extraterrestrial Immortal. The leaf flew towards the young man. He spread his legs, lowering his stance, and used the blue sword he created to block the leaf. He tried his best, but the leaf launched by Xiao Yun carried too much power, forcing the young man to be knocked back. The young man struggled to his feet, wiping his chin. He asked in a rage. You, how do you know Heaven's Extraterrestrial Immortal? DTN explained, before, the military commanders of the Jun clan came to our Chaos Holy Land to cause trouble. As compensation, they gave us this Heaven's Extraterrestrial Immortal divine technique. Another young man countered, compensation, my foot. Didn't your mysterious expert borrow the Emperor's power? Barge into the Jun clan's headquarters, and snatch it away? A girl nearby commented. The #1 expert of the Central Plains, truly extraordinary. Xiao Yun winked and gestured with his hand. What about you guys from Sword Pavilion? Why don't you all come together? A gray-haired man looked at Xiao Yun cautiously. Forget it, Qin Jian is stronger than us. He wasn't a match for you, so he definitely wouldn't be either. That quintessential protagonist aura was shining bright again. Xiao Yun smirked arrogantly, rested his hands on his hips, and said. Ah, being invincible is truly lonely and cold as snow. A young man stopped the girl, his face serious. He whispered, don't be impulsive. He didn't actually use his semi-chaos body just now. Plus, he wasn't going all out. The girl grumbled, "Humph." Her expression changed. She furrowed her brows and muttered, "This guy is so annoying. He's definitely not that little monk, nor is he Duga Chubai." The person with pink hair smirked at Xiao Yun. "What are you being arrogant for? I know a guy named Duga Chubai. His sword Tao is unmatched, definitely stronger than you." Xiao Yun smiled, playing along, "Duga Chubai, I've heard of him. Zhao Wuji said he's handsome and extraordinary, with a noble and upright demeanor. Possessing a kind of invincible aura, a peerless dominance. He truly deserves a sparring match with me." Xiao Yun glanced in another direction, his face sly. "Alright, I'll wait for him to come to the Chaos Holy Land for a sparring match." Xiao Yun extended his hand, saying, "I originally wanted to have a fun battle, but I guess I disappointed everyone." DTN, hearing this, felt speechless. "You really?" A blue-haired young man approached the Saint Master, questioning. "Saint Master, I heard from a fellow Taoist of Taisu Holy Land that your Holy Land currently only has 2 great Saint Peak level experts, Le Zhu and Bu Dai. Is that true? Or is Taisu Holy Land deliberately trying to provoke trouble?" The Saint Master's expression turned serious. He replied, "It's true that our Chaos Holy Land has declined. But we still have 7 or 8 great Saint Peak level experts." The blue-haired man continued, "If you're that strong, why did you let Taisu Holy Land attack you? It doesn't seem like Le Zhu and Bu Dai's style." The Saint Master smiled faintly, extending his hand. "We're just too lazy to deal with Taisu Holy Land. Didn't you all see how we killed a quasi-emperor and a great Saint Peak level expert last time? We didn't truly provoke them. We're just too lazy to take action." Xiao Yun rested his hands on his hips, his eyes closed. He said, "To be honest with you, our Chaos Holy Land has actually birthed a quasi-emperor. Besides that, there's another senior who's about to ascend to the quasi-emperor realm. Otherwise, the number of great Saint Peak level experts wouldn't be so few." When Xiao Yun finished speaking, the Saint Master and DTN simultaneously jumped in surprise. Their eyes widened like eggs, and they broke out in cold sweat. DTN thought to himself, "This is getting a bit absurd." The Saint Master's mouth gaped, "I was just lying a little. You actually directly mentioned 2 quasi-emperors. How could anyone believe that?" The blue-haired young man burst out laughing. "Huh, so it's not like the Chaos Holy Land has declined as rumored, but has actually become the number 1 Holy Land?" Xiao Yun said calmly, "What? Senior, you don't believe it?" Suddenly, the Chaos Bell rang. The Saint Master was startled. "The Chaos Bell is ringing. Could it be that a distinguished guest is arriving?" Xiao Yun replied, "Saint Master, there's no need to be surprised. The senior I mentioned is about to successfully ascend to the quasi-emperor realm." The blue-haired guy sneered, "Acting? Keep acting, no one would believe you." DTN looked up at the sky and muttered, "Purple auspicious energy from the east, 3 myriad miles. Seems like Xiao Yun isn't wrong." Suddenly, powerful purple vortexes appeared in the sky, like tornadoes. Everyone stared in disbelief. The terrifying omen. Could it be true? This aura definitely isn't just someone becoming a saint. The blue-haired man's jaw dropped. Chaos Holy Land, truly not simple. Xiao Yun rested his hands on his hips and laughed loudly, "Now do you believe me? Not long ago, our Chaos Holy Land had a senior ascend to the quasi-emperor realm. He also brought about the auspicious energy of 3 myriad miles. You all are from the eastern wilderness. You might not have seen it, but you must have heard of it." The white-haired elder admitted, "I indeed heard of it." The blue-haired man agreed, "I recall that afterward, the Chaos Great Emperor revived." Someone next to him said, "Chaos Holy Land truly has a deep background." The Saint Master, confused about what was happening, asked quietly, "Xiao Yun, is this real? Did our Chaos Holy Land really have a senior ascend to the quasi-emperor realm? Could it be Lei Zhu?" Upon hearing this, Xiao Yun waved his hand, chuckled, and whispered, "It's fake. It's my avatar forging a chaos body." However, Lei Zhu said he would give him some guidance. Maybe he really can ascend to the quasi-emperor realm. The Saint Master's face turned pale. He broke out in cold sweat and asked Xiao Yun, "Ouch, another chaos body? Has the chaos body become as easy as cabbage?" The young men present all clasped their hands in unison to offer their congratulations. Congratulations to the Chaos Holy Land on gaining another quasi-emperor level strong person. Seeing this, the Saint Master smiled awkwardly, extending his hand. "Ha, it's just a quasi-emperor." The 2 young men were taken aback, breaking out in a cold sweat at his composure. They thought to themselves, just a quasi-emperor? Wow, he really has a big mouth. Hearing the Saint Master joining in on Xiao Yun's exaggerated performance, DTN's face turned green. He could only think to himself, oh number. The Saint Master has been corrupted by Xiao Yun. The scene shifts to the Chaos Holy Land's restricted area. A purple beam of light descends from the sky. Xiao Yun's figure gradually emerges from the beam of light. The old man named Bu Dai, witnessing this, exclaimed, "My eyes are opened. A mortal forging a supreme body. I have to say, Patriarch, you're truly incredible." Le Jeu stood beside him, laughing gleefully, ha 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 ha. My Annihilation Tao can finally take another step forward. Bu Dai continued, "Have you achieved enlightenment? Can you ascend to the quasi-emperor realm?" Upon hearing this, Le Jeu clenched his fist and grinned, "I've achieved enlightenment. Within a year, I can ascend to the quasi-emperor realm." Old man Bu Dai let out a sigh of relief. Phew, that huge burden weighing on us has finally disappeared. Le Jeu replied, "Yes, with a lifespan of over 2,000 years, we won't fear any Holy Land anymore." Xiao Yun walked while clicking his tongue, complaining. Forging a chaos body is truly not challenging at all. When I become a great emperor, I'm going to create a special constitution even stronger than the chaos body. The two old men exchanged glances, broke out in cold sweat, and thought to themselves, enough, kid. Stop acting. Xiao Yun extended his hand and asked, "Le Jeu, have you achieved enlightenment?" He placed his hand on his chest. "Yes, within a year, I can break through to the quasi-emperor realm." Xiao Yun grinned, "Great. Finally, we don't need to worry about other holy lands anymore." Le Jeu turned to Bu Dai, "Bu Dai, take Xiao Yun back. If he goes back alone, others might see him. I'll go tell the Saint Master, have him tell the outside world that I've ascended to the quasi-emperor realm and need to consolidate my cultivation. I won't be going out for a while." Hearing Le Jou's suggestion, Bu Dai agreed. "Alright, I'll take Xiao Yun back." The scene shifts back to the present. After learning about the situation, the Saint Master said, "Congratulations to Lu Zhu on ascending to the quasi-emperor realm." The blue-haired man was surprised, it really was Lu Zhu. "I knew it was him earlier." The young man next to him agreed. "Yes, Lu Zhu is a peerless strong person who dominates the saint's path. It's not strange that he ascended." Xiao Yun looked in that direction, rejoicing to himself, "Good. The threat to the Holy Land has finally been completely resolved. The next step is the most difficult, Nirvana." The scene shifts to a place with breathtaking scenery, Dongyu Peak. Inside, two figures were conversing. "Big brother, now that Le Jeu has ascended to the quasi-emperor realm, maybe we shouldn't rely on Tai Su anymore. After all, our previous transaction wasn't a crime worthy of death. We just need," before he could finish, the red-haired man interrupted, "What? You want to give up halfway? You're not worthy of death, but I am. Because I became a saint, once Le Jeu finds out about our transaction, I'll definitely die." The white-haired elder refuted, "It's not about giving up halfway. The situation has changed." The red-haired man retorted, "Nothing has changed. Even if Lu Zhu broke through, do you think you have a chance to become a saint?" He continued, "If you don't become a saint, you'll die in a few hundred years. Unless you can seize resources from Tai Su." Hearing the red-haired man's words, the white-haired elder pondered for a moment before replying, "Big brother, you're not wrong. My talent is truly too poor." The red-haired man clenched his fist, determined. He said, "So, we can only persevere until the end. Take one step at a time, improve our strength first, then we'll talk." Seeing the red-haired man's resolute demeanor, the old man beside him also clenched his fist and replied, "All right, big brother, I'll listen to you." The red-haired man glanced in another direction, thinking to himself, "Looks like I've managed to convince this foolish younger brother. Otherwise, I can only sacrifice myself for the greater good. But the Chaos Holy Land is indeed lucky to have someone break through at this crucial moment." In a blink of an eye, 3 days later. At this time, many people were flying towards the mountain named Defone. The people inside were laughing and talking cheerfully, making a lively and bustling scene. Xiao Yun held a cup of celebratory wine in both hands, raising it towards DTN and saying, "Congratulations on your wedding, master. Everyone has come to offer congratulations, except for Tai Su Holy Land. Even the 10,000 Sword Mountain Villa sent someone. You're truly influential, master." DTN chuckled and replied. Isn't it because I'm basking in the light of Lazy's ascension? Xiao Yun responded. Yes, now no one dares to look down on the Chaos Holy Land anymore. Xiao Yun glanced at the people arriving, and he was surprised. Huh? More people are coming? And this whole scene is a big grand. Seeing Xiao Yun's question, DTN replied. Those are the twin emperors of the Yi family. Naturally, their aura is a big grand. Suddenly, from that direction, 2 red emperor chariots flew towards them, attracting everyone's attention. The blonde-haired guy exclaimed, 2 emperor chariots? The Yi family is truly extravagant. Xiao Yun stood beside him, smiling and saying, before, Yifei issued a challenge. He wants to fight me today. Of course, he has to have some flair. The blonde-haired guy with a Chao Ruiying-like hairstyle turned his head, broke out in a cold sweat, and thought to himself helplessly, Yifei, I wasn't lying to you at the beginning. You're on your own. The person called the Yi family quasi-emperor, Yiwei, stepped out and said. Xiao Yun, Yi de Dao, wielding the holy Dao, is the extraordinary genius of our Yi family. You killed him rashly. You must give our Yi family an answer today. Bu Dai stood face to face with the Yi family. He pointed at him and asked, Yiwei, you're a quasi-emperor. Do you really need to intimidate 2 juniors? Hearing this, the Yi family, with his hands clasped behind his back, his long white beard fluttering in the wind, looked at Bu Dai and asked. Bu Dai, why is it you? Didn't Zhang Delay ascend? Why isn't he here to see me? Xiao Yun and the blonde-haired young man beside him gasped in unison, quasi-emperor. Bu Dai looked at the Yi family solemnly and replied. He just ascended, naturally. He needs to close himself off to consolidate his cultivation. He continued, Yi Lao too, there's no enmity between you and me. What are you investigating? Are you here to act as a hatchet man for Taisu Holy Land? He continued, spit it out. I don't have time to waste words with you. The Yi family was furious, Bu Dai, after all these years, you're still so annoying. Bu Dai's entire body emanated a blue flame-like aura, engulfing him. He clenched his fists, his face serious, spare the words. If you're not satisfied, then do it. I've beaten up quasi-emperors before. He continued, with your lifespan, dragging you down to hell won't be a problem. Hearing these words, which felt like punches to his ears, the Yi family's expression darkened as he pondered, is it because Lei Zhu ascended that this old bastard isn't taking me seriously? Forget it, I was just trying to probe him. It's not worth it to actually take action against him. After considering it, the Yi family said, I'm too lazy to talk to a ruffian like you. He turned to his disciple and called out, Yifei, it's up to you. Yifei stood behind him, his bearing imposing. He asked, where's Xiao Yun? Today is the day we agreed to battle. Do you dare to fight me on the Great Emperor Arena? Xiao Yun immediately flew up, his yellow aura enveloping him powerfully. Then, Xiao Yun flew in front of Yifei and said, I am Xiao Yun. Come on. Yifei was surprised upon seeing Xiao Yun. He exclaimed, Doguchobai. Xiao Yun asked in confusion, what are you talking about? The other guy said, aren't you Doguchobai? Why are you so similar to him? Yifei replied, I don't know what you're talking about. Are you going to fight or not? Fight. Bu Dai confidently extended his hand, casting his spell and saying, if that's the case, then please, Great Emperor Lei. Immediately, where Bu Dai had cast his spell, a large arena materialized between the two of them. Yifei extended his hand, inviting Xiao Yun onto the arena. Xiao Shensi, please. But in his heart, he thought, even if you are Doguchobai, let's defeat you first, then we'll talk. Xiao Yun, upon hearing Yifei's words, responded with a fiery spirit. Alright, let me see how powerful the Yi family's 1-2 emperors really are. After both of them ascended to the arena, Yifei said, you'll see soon enough. As he finished speaking, Yifei cast the old heaven's palm. A massive, colossal hand like a galaxy appeared in the air about to strike Xiao Yun. Seeing Yifei attack, Xiao Yun quickly used heaven's extraterrestrial immortal. A powerful flame appeared running along the hand, then splitting it in half. Xiao Yun withdrew his move, his expression brimming with confidence. He said, child's play. Yifei was surprised that his attack was so easily dispelled. He exclaimed, isn't that the technique of the Jun Xiao Dao? How did it become so strong? Yiwei beside him was also speechless. He has cultivated heaven's extraterrestrial immortal to the great perfection realm. No wonder he can contend with great divine techniques. Unwilling to accept defeat, Yi Fei continued to unleash his moves. He used the Heaven's Emperor's favor, clenching his fist and pointing forward. He said, "Keep going." A strange, beautiful golden box with intricate patterns appeared in the air and flew towards Xiao Yun, attacking. Seeing Yi Fei use this technique, he used Heaven's extraterrestrial immortal again and said, "Disperse." Immediately, 3 blazing red swords converged and formed a glow atop the swords. The 3 swords instantly advanced, shattering the golden box before it could reach him. Those below the arena, witnessing this exchange of moves between the two, exclaimed in shock, "These two are truly too powerful." Yes, using the same Heaven's extraterrestrial immortal. Jun Xiaodao would be unworthy to carry Xiao Yun's shoes. Yi Fei is already more formidable after his Dao tribulation. Xiao Yun, seeing that Yi Fei's technique was so easily neutralized, laughed scornfully. "You're pretty good for a bit of a warm-up. You're at about 0.9 million infinite." Yi Fei, his mouth burning from anger, replied. "I've already unleashed the omen of the supreme body. How dare you say I'm just warming up?" Zhao Wuji, on the sidelines, watched this scene and felt speechless. He gritted his teeth and thought to himself, "Just fight. Why do you have to drag me down? Am I eating your food?" At this time, Yi Fei was filled with anger and roared, "Stop bragging. I haven't lost yet." As he finished speaking, Yi Fei unleashed a strange humanoid form, a replica of himself that appeared behind him. Yi Fei instantly used the Heaven's Emperor's fist, a purple fist, to strike Xiao Yun. Seeing this, Xiao Yun didn't back down and used the Chaos Fist, a golden fist. Seeing Yi Fei acting so recklessly, he said, exchanging injuries for injuries. Yi Fei laughed scornfully, scared. Xiao Yun snorted in response. Both of their fists were determined to exchange injuries for injuries. Neither side was willing to defend against the other's attacks. Instead, they chose to take the full force of both blows. They both wanted to see who had the stronger power and greater endurance. Ultimately, who would be the loser? This was a battle for superiority. After that move, a terrifying shockwave occurred. Immediately, Yi Fei took the full force of Xiao Yun's attack and was knocked back 100 meters. He struggled to sit up, exclaiming, You. Seeing Yi Fei in such a sorry state, Xiao Yun crossed his arms and said scornfully, "You're a supreme body, but you only have this much strength?" Yi Fei struggled to stand, questioning, "How is your physical body so strong?" Xiao Yun casually replied, "I reached 1 million gene in the body refinement realm. Surpassing the extreme realm. My physical strength has surpassed all supreme bodies in the true dragon cave. Isn't it normal that I'm stronger than you?" Those around them heard this and exclaimed in worry, "I'm afraid only Duguan can contend with this guy." Another person added, "Yes, this physical body and combat power are called monstrous. No wonder he's the #1 heavenly prodigy of the Central Plains." Qin Wen saw this scene and frowned, asking Qin Bingyu, "What's going on?" She replied angrily, "I was fooled by Jun Xiaodao. We're both supreme bodies. Yi Fei is much stronger than him. I'm not as good as Yi Fei." Her eyes sharpened. She said, "Although this Xiao Yun seems rather unpleasant, we can't deny that he's truly strong." They watched the fierce battle before them as they spoke. Suddenly, Qin Wen said, "Didn't you notice? Xiao Yun hasn't even gone all out." She focused her gaze on the fight before them and replied, "Yes, I heard that he has a chaos realm. He hasn't used it yet. His semi-chaos body hasn't appeared either." Then, Xiao Yun struck. Orange energy shot out, directly hitting Yi Fei. He took the full force of his attack. Yi Fei spat out a mouthful of blood, flying back. Seeing Yi Fei so weak, Xiao Yun laughed and said, "You're too weak. Even Zhao Wuji wouldn't be this bad. You want to challenge me?" Zhao Wuji, below the arena, saw this scene and thought to himself, "No way, why has he become so much stronger? Before, when he had just forged his chaos body, he wasn't this strong. Did he secretly do something?" "Being invincible is truly lonely," Xiao Yun said confidently, clasping his hands behind his back. Seeing that Yi Fei was seriously injured, Yi Wei supported him and dragged him away. He said, "Let's go." As he left, he glanced back at Xiao Yun with a murderous look. Thinking to himself, "This bastard is too good at acting." Jian Yiwen, witnessing this fight, exclaimed, "Xiao Yun is truly not a false reputation." Those behind him agreed, "Yes, he's truly very strong. Let's go, we're too far behind him." After the fight ended, DTN approached Xiao Yun and said, "The 3 sword grandmasters of the 10,000 Sword Mountain Villa have arrived. The wedding is about to end. Get ready to leave." Next, you'll go observe the forging of holy weapons. Hopefully, you can gain something. Hearing DTN's words, he quickly responded, yes. He secretly thought to himself, finally, I can comprehend those Tao principles. After a while, DTN clasped his hands and said, welcome, the three grandmasters, to our humble abode. Next, I will trouble you. The newcomers quickly replied, Elder DTN, you're too kind. The Holy Land has invited us with such great respect, of course, we'll do our best. Ngao Wusong came forward to greet Xiaoyun, clasping his hands and saying, 10,000 Sword Mountain Villa Saint's son, Ngao Wusong, pays respects to Brother Xiao. You resemble an old acquaintance of mine, Dugu Chubai. I don't know if you are acquainted with him, Xiaoyun. Hearing Wusong's words, chuckled and replied, Brother Ngao, you're too kind. Others from the eastern wilderness also say that I resemble Dugu Chubai. However, to tell the truth, I've never even heard his name before. Hearing that Xiaoyun didn't know him, he tilted his head and said, oh, that's how it is. Well, then, please, Brother Xiao, observe the forging of the sword. I hope you're lucky. He thought to himself, a prodigy resembling Dugu Chubai, there can't be another. I've observed the forging of holy weapons 4 times. This time, I'm going to comprehend the Tao principle, surprising them. I am Ngao Van Nan. I have comprehended the essence of the Earth Branch Tao's protective principle. I hope everyone can gain something from this. Ngao Van Nan said, standing in front of the group with a hammer in his hand. You have comprehended the Chaos Tao. What is the Earth Branch Tao? Xiao Wuji asked, standing next to Xiao Yun. Xiao Yun looked at Xiao Wuji and replied casually, not long ago. I just cultivated a new emperor scripture, the 5 elements sacred scripture. I need to comprehend the 5 elements, gold, wood, water, fire, and earth. The essence comprehended by these sword masters happens to be what I need. Xiao Wuji's mouth gaped open, his eyes widened in astonishment. 5 elements? Are you stupid? How much time will it take? Won't you cultivate your Chaos Tao? Xiaoyun smiled and replied, don't compare yourself to me. I walk on 5 paths simultaneously, and it's faster than you. Xiao Wuji didn't believe him, you're bragging. Haven't you heard the saying, suffer a temporary loss? Wait until I become a great emperor first. Let's see if you'll regret it. Xiaoyun looked at him, his eyes filled with mockery. What are you, an ancient? You were 30 years old before you had some strength. Don't even think about being my follower in the future. It'll be embarrassing. Can you even defeat me? Xiao Wuji retorted, I am 30 years old. You're not even 20. Am I not an ancient? Are you itching for a fight? The people around them listened to their conversation, feeling like knives stabbing their hearts. They looked at themselves and thought, at 20 or 30, they're already so powerful. I've wasted my life. These young people are incredibly formidable. There are so many peerless prodigies and supreme talents in this world. All right, stop making noise. Start observing the forging of the sacred weapon. Ngao Van Nan said, striking his drum 3 times. The drum echoed repeatedly. Xiaoyun's face shone brightly and his whole body emanated a radiant halo. Those standing around him were astonished and had the same thought. Has he already comprehended it? A female master turned to the great elder DTN and asked, Brother, is your disciple always like this? DTN replied helplessly. Yes, this little fellow is a freak. It's a lot of pressure being his master. Ngao Wusong was suspicious of Xiaoyun being the solitary invincible and thought to himself. Could he be solitary invincible? No, that can't be right. Solitary invincible sword Tao is so powerful. It couldn't be the chief disciple of the Chaos Holy Land. That's too absurd. Then he turned around and whispered to Jiao Wuji. Brother Jiao, Brother Xiao has comprehended the essence. How come you haven't comprehended it yet? Jiao Wuji glanced at Wusong and retorted. Have you comprehended it? Seeing Jiao Wuji questioning him like that, Ngao Wusong could only retort. You can't compare with me. You are a supreme talent, a peerless prodigy like Brother Xiao. And I'm just an ordinary person. Jiao Wuji could only say helplessly. It's just an ancient saint body not worth mentioning. I am also an ordinary person. And Ngao Wusong could only click his tongue and glance at Jiao Wuji. Thinking to himself, brother, can you have some shame? 2 hours later, Ngao Van Tai continued striking the drum. As he struck, he thought the essence of the weak water Tao's principle of using the soft to overcome the strong lies here. Xiao Yun comprehended it again, and his entire body emitted a brilliant radiant halo. Zhao Wuji gaped in astonishment. He's comprehended it again. The Ingeo Holy Son next to him was equally astonished, his eyes wide with surprise. Freak! 3 hours later, Ingeo Gang stood in front of Xiao Yun, holding a hammer, and praised him. Xiao Shenxi's talent is truly outstanding. I've comprehended the essence of the Metal Tao's sharp wind principle. If you can comprehend this essence, it will greatly help your Sword Tao's attack power. Xiao Yun replied. Thank you for your guidance, Master Ingeo Gang. Then, he tilted his head and asked his master. Master, this Master Ingeo Gang's strength seems much stronger than the other two masters. What realm is he in? DTN, standing behind him, replied. Peak Saint, half a step away from the Great Saint. Upon hearing the answer, Xiao Yun's eyes turned serious. He thought to himself, the Great Saint of Sword Tao is the strongest under the Emperor realm. It seems that the Myriad Swords Mountain Villa has deep roots. Master Ingeo Gang started striking the drum repeatedly. Ingeo Wusong heard the drumbeat and was about to look over, but Xiao Yun thought, the sharp wind principle is notoriously difficult to comprehend, it can't be him. Just as Ingeo Wusong thought, Xiao Yun once again comprehended the essence. He absorbed all the emanating power into himself. The Holy Son felt a pang of admiration for Xiao Yun. You've comprehended it. The man beside Ingeo Wusong looked at him solemnly and said. Wusong, I remember this is the 7th time you've watched the forging of the sacred weapon. Wusong could only cry in his heart, again? He looked at the man who asked him with a pale face and replied, I was wrong. I am stupid. I have disgraced the master. I have disgraced the Myriad Swords Mountain Villa. After I return, I will definitely review my shortcomings deeply. In the future, I will definitely double my efforts in cultivation. Seeing his expression, the man was bewildered and thought. What's wrong with Wusong? Seeing that Zhao Wuji was leaving, Wusong asked. Brother Zhao, where are you going? Aren't you watching anymore? Zhao Wuji muttered, I need to use the restroom. Wusong thought to himself, he's been fasting, hasn't eaten or drunk anything, where would he get pee from? That's a terrible excuse. But this place is really depressing, I should leave too. With that, he turned and walked away. Wusong's master asked, Wusong, where are you going? Wusong, mimicking Zhao Wuji's excuse, answered. Master, I have a stomachache, I need to take care of it. I'll be back in a bit. His master was speechless and watched Wusong leave helplessly. Later, a young man walked up to Wusong's master, saying, Big brother, I'm going to the wedding celebration. Some of my friends are there, I'm going to talk to them. Wusong's master turned and followed the young man, saying, Let's go together, I have a few friends there too. After Xiao Yun finished comprehending, he opened his eyes and looked around. He found himself alone. He looked around, wondering, where is everyone? 3 days later, one evening, Xiao Yun sat on the ground cultivating. His body emitted brilliant streams of power. While cultivating, he thought, there are 3 ways to comprehend the Tao. Observing forging a sword, watching the Tao of the Saint, and forcible comprehension. Observing forging a sword is out of the question, there's no play for me to watch. Observing the Tao of the Saint is not suitable for the chaotic body. It's impossible for someone from a different holy land. Forcible comprehension requires too many awakenings. But it's the only method that might work. He opened his eyes and cursed the system under his breath, damn system, can you send me some more missions? Let me accumulate more awakenings, give me the 999 sword, please. As soon as he finished speaking, the system beeped. A new mission was announced. Xiao Yun was surprised, wow, you called it. But upon reading the mission, he exclaimed in disbelief. Wait, what kind of mission is this? System, are you serious? The system screen displayed, killing a regular saint, reward 1,000 awakenings. Killing a great saint, reward 10,000 awakenings. Killing a quasi-emperor, reward 100,000 awakenings. Looking at the tempting rewards, then at the mission itself. Xiao Yun anxiously pondered, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. The rewards are indeed generous. But system, you want me to go kill saints? Do you think I'm the dragon-slaying sword? Do I have the power of a galaxy? I'm in the Nirvana realm, the heaven realm, a saint's finger could crush me. Forget it, I'll go ask the immortal old master, see if he can help. Thinking this, Xiao Yun left his room, flying toward the immortal old master. Outside the forbidden zone, the immortal old master said. Little guy, what brings you here? Xiaoyun scratched his head. Old master, I have something I need your help with. The immortal old master looked at him with a sly smile. Seeing your smile, it's definitely not a good thing. If you've got something to say, spit it out. Xiaoyun replied, Old master, you're just sitting around doing nothing. Why don't you take me to kill a saint to broaden my horizons? And leave a last breath for me to finish off, just to build up my courage. The immortal old master looked at him and asked. You think I'm really that idle? Xiaoyun awkwardly chuckled, hee, I heard that you used to slay people on the holy path. Your Tao has been starved for years, you're desperately craving a fight. The immortal old master glared at him, right now, I want to chop you up. Killing saints, you think they're chickens? Casual slaughter could trigger a war between the holy lands. Xiaoyun said with a thick face. You know, let's pretend I didn't say anything. I'm off then, goodbye. You don't need to go, I'll take you. The immortal old master said. Launching Xiaoyun out, using his power. Propelled by the immortal old master's power, Xiaoyun flew past. The holy master of wind. The chaotic holy master saw him and said. Xiaoyun, what a coincidence. I was looking for you, and you're here. Xiaoyun landed and asked, Holy master, what do you need me for? He looked at Xiaoyun and said cheerfully. The Holy Land exchange is about to begin, and we need someone to lead the team. Therefore, we must choose one of you to become a divine son of our chaotic Holy Land. The divine son will lead the team. He then turned his head, pointed at Xiaoyun with his hand, and spoke to the people behind him, since Xiaoyun is here, let's begin the competition. Seeing that Xiaoyun was the one who came, everyone automatically raised their hands in surrender. Saying, Holy Master, I concede. Holy Master, I concede too. Seeing this, the Holy Master helplessly said. Sai, you guys are the strongest divine sons of the chaotic Holy Land. No matter what, wouldn't you try your luck? Upon hearing this, the people around stepped forward to explain to him. Holy Master, I've watched the battle between the divine son and Ifei. Even if I joined, I wouldn't win. There's no need to try my luck. Yes, we all know our own capabilities. The Holy Master didn't press them further, turning to Xiaoyun, he said. Alright, Xiaoyun, get ready. We'll bestow upon you the title of Divine Son tomorrow. Suddenly, someone spoke, wait. It was Dongshan Wang, with Tianyi standing beside him. He looked at the Holy Master and said. Holy Master, this is my newly acquired disciple. According to the rules, he's also eligible to compete for the position of Divine Son. Perhaps we should wait until they've fought before making a decision. Xiaoyun stood opposite Dongshan Wang and thought. Dongshan Wang definitely knows my strategy. Given this premise, he still sent someone to compete for the position of Divine Son. It must not be simple. He seems ordinary, but I can sense a deep, unfathomable aura. Tianyi stood silently, observing Xiaoyun. The Holy Master looked at Tianyi and asked Dongshan Wang. Dongshan Wang, who is this? When did you take on this disciple? Dongshan Wang answered, not long ago, the immortal old master changed the rules regarding accepting disciples. So, I took on a disciple with a strong cultivation base. His name is Tianyi. He possesses the 5 elements divine body and is at the late stage of the emerging realm. The Holy Master said, this person's background is unknown. He's competing for the position of Divine Son right after joining the Holy Land. I'm afraid the others won't be happy about it. Hearing this, Dongshan Wang replied. He's my legitimate disciple. Who dares to object? Besides, Xiaoyun even defeated Ifei, who possesses the supreme body. How could he be afraid of a nameless loose cultivator like Tianyi? The Holy Master hesitated, this. Xiaoyun, standing beside him, quickly spoke to defend the Holy Master. He's a divine son of the chaotic Holy Land. He naturally has the right to compete for the position of Divine Son. However, let him first pass the test of Zhao Wuji before we talk. Even my attendant couldn't defeat him. He's not qualified to challenge me. Hearing Xiaoyun's words, Dongshan Wang replied. Xiaoyun, what do you mean? Are you scared? However, Tianyi stood beside him and said. Brother Xiao makes a valid point. I agree to fight Zhao Wuji. Seeing Tianyi's confident demeanor, Xiaoyun couldn't help but frown and think, this guy is really confident. I guess there's no problem. Dongshan Wang, seeing that Tianyi agreed, turned to the Holy Master and said. Holy Master, it's best to call the Supreme Elders here to witness this. I don't want my disciple to win and then have others deny it. The Holy Master agreed. All right, as you wish. Someone go inform the Supreme Elders. Xiaoyan flew into the air, saying, I'll go find Zhao Wuji. Moments later, Zhao Wuji and Xiaoyan flew back to the Holy Master of Wind. Wuji asked Xiaoyun. Are you sure there's someone uncertain, someone with strength comparable to mine? You're not pulling my leg, are you? Xiaoyun replied, what benefit would I have in pulling your leg? You'll see when we get there. When Xiaoyun and Zhao Wuji arrived, the Holy Master of Wind was surrounded by people. Tianyi looked at the red-haired man beside him and said, You're also named Tianyi? The red-haired man glanced at him and asked, What? What's your point, little brat? Tianyi looked at him arrogantly and said, I wouldn't dare to offer advice. I just think you should change your name. The red-haired man, angered by his arrogance, snapped. You insolent brat. Don't think that just because you're Dong Yufeng's disciple, you can be arrogant in front of me. Want me to change my name? Wait until you become a saint before saying that. Tianyi looked at him with a contemptuous gaze. Senior, don't be angry. I'm just trying to be helpful. Because someone named Tianyi before me met a tragic end. I'm just worried that you might experience the same misfortune. The red-haired man looked at Tianyi, about to say something. But he had only managed to utter one word, you. When the Holy Master intervened. All right, since Zhao Wuji is here, let's begin. Tianyi stepped forward, clasped his hands together, and greeted Zhao Wuji. Brother Zhao, I've long admired your name. I'm Tian, please enlighten me. As soon as Tianyi finished speaking, Zhao Wuji unleashed a palm strike, saying, I have no interest in the name of the weak. If you want to gain my recognition, block one of my punches before we talk. Tianyi remained unfazed and replied, all right. He quickly reacted, blocking Zhao Wuji's attack. In the sky, the collision of their power created a deafening shockwave. Both sides were knocked back by the impact of their attack. Zhao Wuji was alert, observing Tianyi, thinking. Indeed, he's very strong. Xiaoyan witnessed this and used sound transmission to whisper to his master. Something strange, his body shouldn't be that strong. Tian old master replied. Unless he's like you, he's overcome extreme tribulations multiple times. Zhao Wuji unleashed the Six Paths Reincarnation Fist, glancing at Tianyi, he said, You're quite good. You really are qualified to fight me. Tianyi stood opposite him, activating the Five Elements realm in preparation for Zhao Wuji's oncoming attack. When Wuji's Six Paths Reincarnation Fist arrived, Tianyi jumped up, creating a massive shield, blocking the attack. Tian old master sighed in amazement. His realm and Tao were so powerful. Xiaoyan was also surprised by what he had just witnessed. He thought to himself, he's actually comprehended the 5 Taos of gold, wood, water, fire and earth. Zhao Wuji summoned his war god realm and said, You only have a realm? I have one too. Tianyi was gathering his strength. Seeing that Wuji had summoned his realm, he said excitedly, Finally, we can have a good fight. The two colossal forces collided once again, this time shaking the entire sky. Zhao Wuji was knocked backward by Tianyi's attack. The Holy Master and the elders were astonished. Zhao Wuji lost? How is this possible? What was that just now? Tian old master was also surprised. The great Zhou Tian spiritual body. He actually possesses 2 second-level divine bodies simultaneously. How is that possible? Witnessing Tianyi's extraordinary display, Xiaoyun was utterly amazed. With his insatiable thirst for knowledge, he used sound transmission to ask his master, Master, have you ever seen someone with 2 special physiques at the same time? Tian was still astonished. He answered, Never. Any special physique is unique. This person is truly unusual. However, Dong Xinwang seems to be unaware of this. Dong Xinwang, observing from the sidelines, was also taken aback by Zhao Wuji's performance. He was momentarily bewildered. How can he be this strong? Xiaoyun asked Tian again. Master, could he be a spy from the Taisu Holy Land? Tian immediately refuted. No, do you think we would send you to the Taishan Holy Land to be a spy? That would be too risky and not worth it. Hearing his master's explanation, Xiaoyun found it logical. He replied, That's right. However, he can't be a loose cultivator. Why did he come here? Witnessing Zhao Wuji's extraordinary abilities, a concern arose in the Holy Master's heart. He turned to Xiao Yun and asked, Xiao Yun, can you defeat him? Xiao Yun immediately responded with extreme confidence. Please rest assured, he's just 1.2 Zhao Wuji. I can defeat him without even using the chaotic body. Hearing the number, 1.2 Zhao Wuji, the Holy Master was stunned. That's way too strong. The Holy Master was helpless. He thought to himself, so, a powerful ancient body like Zhao Wuji has become a unit of measurement for battle strength in your eyes? Tian Yi and Zhao Wuji fought fiercely, both giving their all. Zhao Wuji seemed to be reaching his limit. He was furious. He was determined. Before defeating Xiao Yun, Zhao Wuji absolutely couldn't lose to anyone, not a single person. Even if it meant death, Zhao Wuji was determined not to lose. With that thought in mind, he launched a desperate attack. However, in a moment of carelessness, he allowed Tian Yi to land a punch on his face. A fatal blow that knocked out Zhao Wuji. Defeated, Zhao Wuji suddenly collapsed unconscious. Could it be that his punch was too strong? The battle ended with Zhao Wuji's collapse. Everyone was stunned. He's unconscious? He's actually unconscious. DTN and Xiao Yun immediately rushed to check on Zhao Wuji's condition. Xiao Yun was puzzled. Why did he faint like this? DTN calmly replied. Because he's condensed an invincible Dao heart. If he loses again, his invincible Dao heart will shatter. Hearing this, Xiao Yun found it confusing. When he lost to you last time, his Dao heart didn't shatter. DTN calmly answered, he's like you and me. When I hit you, did your Dao heart shatter? But, other than you, he can't lose to anyone. Xiao Yun understood his master's words. He fell silent for a moment. On Tian Yi's side, his master also worriedly asked. Tian Yi, are you alright? Tian Yi, although injured, reassured his master, I'm fine. Xiao Yun walked over to Tian Yi, acknowledging his strength. Tian Yi, right? You managed to beat my attendant like that, you're quite good. When you recover from your injuries, feel free to come find me anytime. But unexpectedly, Tian Yi politely declined. No need, I concede. I'm no match for you. With that, Dong Xinwang and his disciple left. After the two left, the Holy Master of the Chaotic Holy Land happily announced to everyone. Since Tian Yi has conceded, from today on, Xiao Yun will be the divine son of our Chaotic Holy Land. His fellow disciples all came to congratulate Xiao Yun. He politely thanked them, you're all too kind. I'll lead the Chaotic Holy Land to rise again. Although he said it politely, Xiao Yun was overjoyed. Because, for him, it felt like just yesterday when he had to give up the position of Divine Son to complete the first mission. Now, he had finally reclaimed his position as Divine Son. Xiao Yun, filled with a burning ambition, declared to everyone, from today, I, Divine Son Xiao Yun, will make the Chaotic Holy Land the first Holy Land of the Nine Heavens Great Continent once again. Because I'm here, I conquer, I see this world as mine, and I will shine everywhere. While everyone was impressed, the new Divine Son might have been a little too excited and spoke too much. The audience found it a bit overwhelming. DTN walked over and patted Xiao Yun on the shoulder. Disciple, that's enough, no need to show off anymore. Everyone had left. Xiao Yun looked around in bewilderment, seeing no one. Apparently, everyone had stopped talking because they were bored and had left. Somewhere in Dong Yufang, Dong Xinwang worriedly asked Tian Yi. You possess two special physiques. Even in the Tai Su Holy Land, you'd be among the top, second only to Li Undi. How could the Tai Su Holy Land let you come here? Aren't they afraid that you'll die here? Tian Yi frowned upon hearing the name Li Undi. How dare you compare me to that little brat Li Undi? Tian Yi's expression clearly showed his disdain for Li Undi. His talent isn't bad, but he lacks ambition. He's not even as good as Zhao Wuji. He's not worthy of being compared to me. Dong Xinwang, upon hearing Tian Yi's words, didn't rebuke him. He clasped his hands and asked, I'm curious, logically speaking, with your talent, you should be famous throughout the world. But why haven't I heard of you before? Tian Yi casually replied while holding a glass of water. Known too much won't benefit you. Hearing this, Dong Xinwang became serious and asked. So, aren't you afraid of dying here? The atmosphere suddenly became heavy. Tian Yi gave a wary look and said. As long as you don't betray me, no one will know I'm from the Tai Su Holy Land. Besides, an emerging realm cultivator like me wouldn't pose a threat to the Holy Land, wouldn't you agree? Tian Yi continued. So, as long as you cooperate with me, it will be beneficial for you. As for what I want to do, it's not something you should be concerned with. Understand? Dong Xinwang, without any objection, readily agreed. All right, I'll follow your arrangement. Although he didn't object, Dong Xinwang felt extremely uncomfortable deep down. I'm a saint, yet I have to take orders from a little brat. He let out a sigh. We're from the same family.